Buttholes.
Butthole. Shout out to
Hello.
Buttholes.
Shout out. EP of the podcast. Buttholes.
Oh, hey, guys.
How does Neal feel?
Welcome to the show. Hold on, I've just set some things on my watch, if you guys don't mind. Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Sorry, no.
Bianca's doing her last looks.
Wait.
If you get this text, it's too late. I've already recorded a podcast. Bianca.
Hey, you.
How was your week?
Okay. I did. I booked a commercial for this diamond facial.
Fantastic. So what do you have to do? Is it print? TV?
It was digital. This one was digital, and it was just
digital means the internet. But
internet,
that's like it sounds shitty, but it's a bigger.
You can't even imagine. It's a Wild
West.
West.
There's bigger digital buys now than TV buys.
Exactly. So, and then they gave me a facial with diamonds. So it's like a tip. It's like a diamond.
Did you
tip.
open your mouth and try to catch some diamonds so you could cheek them, as they say?
It's not how you catch diamonds.
To say in prison, and then you put them in your cheeks.
No, and they take a diamond thing and they remove like a whole layer from your face. I thought of you.
Of soot.
Of
stuff.
Just
gunk.
Just a dead skin.
Interesting.
And it was fantastic. And then I threw my friend a baby shower.
Well. Did your ovaries hurt?
No. I threw my friend a baby shower. Also, have you been to a baby shower? You look like you're on your way to one.
I love your comedy. I always have. I'm wearing pink.
He's wearing a light pink.
Because I'm
low hanging fruit.
I'm just a visitor to the earth, and your colors mean nothing to me. I've been to I don't think I have. I've been to a christening, that thing.
You've been to a christening?
bris.
You've been to a bris?
I've been to a bris, yeah. Didn't like it.
Wait, did they snip there?
Yeah.
Oh.
He didn't suck it though. That's
the
good.
weird thing. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't do that.
That's not good.
We don't do that.
You at parties it's one of my favorite images. And it's something that somehow you swore
off. At a
off.
party, I don't. I mean, certain parties I would not mind. It was an ex made me go to someone she worked with. It's just one of these things like, you don't want to go. Why are you making me go? Like, why put me through this? So the whole time my energy was, why are you putting me through this? Like an hour and a half, 2 hours of just nonsense. Just fake relationships with people she like stopped working there 2 months late. It just like, this is a total sham.
Right.
From top to bottom.
Now are you just like, I don't want to go to that? Or would you be there?
I don't know what, I mean, now I think I would say, I think it's not for me. I would feel
I don't
like
have the life source.
I don't have the life force. I don't want to spend my life force on that.
That's good.
My limited time here on the planet.
Well, making a baby shower with a group of women, I was basically on a committee. It was my nightmare. I couldn't believe how dramatic it was.
Yeah.
I was like, eat cake, open presents, call it a day.
No.
What
kind of plates are we getting?
We need.
I want to. You didn't text me back about the plates.
How are we doing this? What are we doing?
Yep.
What colors? Mm-hmm. Who's doing that?
Somebody make a playlist?
I was losing my mind.
Yeah.
But it turned out great, so.
Not worth it.
Not worth it.
I mean, from having a baby to the shower, not worth it.
Also, Neal, you're not going to go to any celebration of climate deniers.
Climate deniers festival. With like a obelisk at the center that they lift up, like a giant, like, here it is. The environmental wrecker.
What'd you do?
What did I do? I did a show Saturday night in Escondido, California, and somebody had a seizure in the middle of the show, which never happened to me.
Funny. You are funny, Neal.
The guy had a seizure, but it wasn't. It was like, get help, and his wife or girlfriend immediately started crying, like immediately. He'd never had a seizure before. Someone I knew was there who was a nurse, who was a nurse practitioner, which is way better than a nurse. Apparently, they like to remind you. And so I knew it was going to be cool. And then there was another guy who took care of it, and the guy came to within 2 to 3 minutes. And so I said, like, sir, what joke made you have a seizure? I will punish it. And I continued.
Or did he leave?
He got up because they had to call the 911, and then the ambulance came, and like it was.
They never returned.
No, they had to. If they call 911 on you, you have to kind of
follow through.
Do something with, like, you have to like ride on the side of the ambulance. You have to take a picture with the ambulance. Something that prevents you from watching comedy.
Right.
But it was on like minute 50, so it wasn't a tragedy.
How much did it like disturb the vibe?
Not that much.
Callous crew.
Because he got up, he walked away. Okay, so it wasn't death. It was death for 90 seconds. And then it became life. Became life very force. Regular life with a newfound appreciation for not dying.
Yeah.
So we all had a new lease on life, and for that last 9 minutes were pretty special.
Gosh, I wonder why.
He'd never had one before, so I don't know.
I hope he's okay.
Who knows? He seemed okay. He walked. I mean, like, I think he drove home.
You can't drive when you have seizures.
Well, I guess I'll give you his name and you can call the governor.
Okay. I will.
So that was Saturday.
Okay.
And then yesterday I experienced plant medicine.
Okay.
But that's who could hear any more of that on a podcast.
Well, you didn't add to your bracelet connection.
I didn't add to a bracelet. I did receive a Gia, which is a necklace. Not wearing it because you can only wear it during plant ceremonies.
Thank God.
Now,
thank God.
Did you see the Grammys?
Actively was not interested.
I didn't watch a frame of it.
I didn't either.
So I did get a text of like, how good are the Grammys? I'm like,
I find award shows right now strange.
I was gonna ask because Oscar nominations came out today.
Yes, I saw.
And our friend of the podcast, Daniel Kaluuya,
received
a Best Supporting. Was
he not the main?
Him and Lakeith both received Best Supporting, it's the first movie without a lead.
Okay, yeah.
It should get an award for that they made a whole movie without a lead person.
I've seen people get lead for less.
Way less.
They're like, we can't give them lead.
Well, no, I don't. I think they both put themselves up for that. It's like,
so you nominate yourself?
Well, yeah.
Or somebody nominate. Yeah, right.
So Trayvon from my group chat, Trayvon Free, the guy I talk about on the show, he got nominated for Best Short.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. I don't know. It seems just odd. And I don't know if it's my own.
Wait, what seems odd?
Like you said, it's weird to have award shows now.
Right.
Also, I feel so removed from the world. Maybe it's combination Star Children, and I've thought award shows were silly for a decade probably, and now it's getting to the point where I don't even understand them. Like, what? You're getting an award. So I'm happy for those guys, but I don't know. They can't pause them, obviously, the award shows, but it just seems like.
Couldn't they just give them without a ceremony? Just instead of announcing nominees, it's like, these people won.
Yeah, but I think that they're so used to the promotional
nature of it.
Grist that it's grist for the promotional milk.
Were you ever, I might have jumped this. Were you in a video with Trayvon, like a slow-mo beat behind the scenes with music?
I don't think so.
I think I jumped it.
You dreamt it?
Yeah.
Congratulations. What a dream.
What do I?
Was Lauren there?
No, he wasn't.
So Grammys, I didn't see. Beyonce won a bunch. It's just I'm just like, oh, Beyonce won and Taylor Swift won, but the fact that anyone's interested is like, what?
I think you should be interested if you're in that industry
if
and
you're
you're
11.
up, like, yeah, or you're elected for, or you're up for something cool.
Yeah, if you're up for it, okay.
Most people aren't. I don't know.
We got to keep podcasting, guys. There's noise are going to happen. We have to fight
just
through it.
Scared me for a second. Yeah, I don't know. Something about it feels
odd. It's just like, give it a second.
Yeah, because also, what do we know what was popular? You know, people weren't
But it's
really
not a matter of
engaging.
popular. It's quality. It's a quality thing from within, coming from in the house.
Yeah, for sure. But for example, like there was, let's say with the Oscars, there's no movie theaters. There's no those kind of numbers saying like, wow, that doesn't really affect it. I know it doesn't affect it, but it would be, I feel like that makes people more engaged in the, like.
Well, I wonder how many more downloads. I mean, I guess it's just trying to get money. They're just trying to make money, trying to promote their shit and like turn it into a competition like American Idol. But their audition is streaming.
Okay.
You're not gonna believe this.
What?
Catholic Church not gonna anoint gay marriage. Can you fucking believe it?
Neal, these are your people.
I'm shocked. I would call the Vatican. I call the hotline.
Call the Vatican.
I call the hotline endlessly.
Hotline.
And they won't bless them.
Wait,
God can't bless it. That's a direct quote. God cannot bless sin. So, whoops. There you go, gays. You thought you weren't sinning? Surprise. You're still sinning. Bad news, you can't get married. Good news, sex just got hotter.
Who's after this? Who is after the anointment of who needs a blessing?
Well, in some ways, it's not unlike The Weeknd getting mad that he didn't get nominated for a Grammy. It's like, what do you need? Why do you need their approval?
Right.
The Catholic anointment, it gets you nothing. You get a Grammy's more valuable.
Right.
You get a trophy.
Yeah, you could sell it.
You could sell it. You could sell the trophy. It's good for Grammys are especially good for intros, like Grammy winning artists.
Yeah, they're great.
But gay marriage gets you nothing. So
wait, no, blessing, anointment.
Gay marriage. No, the marriage. I didn't misspeak. I'm saying,
Neal, wait a minute. What do you say?
Get married. No, I'm saying the blessing. What the fuck is what are they talking about? Like, sorry. Our fake organization can't bless you.
Filled with sin.
I mean, gay marriage. You know how many priests are bummed right now that they're not going to be able to
They're like,
get married to the boy they're molesting when he comes of age. They're free. But it's good for gay priests because they're like, sorry, I'd love to, but I can't.
It reminds me of when I was in China. I was understanding the pettiness of the Chinese government, and apparently this llama died, not the animal, like not the Dalai Lama, but another llama. And
it's funny if you picture it as a llama, though.
A llama died. So a llama died, and in their religion, they believe in reincarnation. And the Chinese government said they were undecided on whether they were going to let him reincarnate.
Wow, that's funny.
That's
very funny.
They're like, we haven't approved the reincarnation yet.
We'll run up the flagpole. But no promises.
It's just like, okay. This is the type of people we're working with.
So sorry, guys.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, you don't get to visit the hospital. You get nothing. In order to visit your lover in the hospital or your husband or wife at the hospital, you have to be legally married. It has got nothing to do with the church. So you're getting.
You have to be a little delusional for that to matter. Like. It's not like a badge. Like, I'm blessed out of my way, you know?
Yeah,
so it has to, like, what? Well, you're Catholic, so what does it mean?
There are people that are like that guy Andrew Sullivan, who's like kind of a conservative journalist, op-ed guy, gay, but kind of has to. I believe he's still Catholic and likes the church.
Okay,
so it's for him. They might as well have said, "Sorry, Andrew." That might as well have been the headline. Like that, I don't. I just think he wants it. It means a lot to him, but I don't know if he knows why it means a lot to him.
Right.
It might just be a childhood thing, like he grew up in it. It's like people defending the crown, which we'll get to.
You grew up in the Catholic Church, so I'm wondering, are there people, not necessarily gay people, that being anointed, being blessed is extremely important? Or is everyone kind of like, we're here, so...
was openly gay.
No, just in general, just being blessed, like having the blessings, like or is it just like we're all doing this because we kind of think it helps us?
I don't think anyone... Look, I'm a fucking star child, and the sooner people realize it, the better. I don't think people's understanding of religion is true.
Of course.
I just don't. I think that they want to believe, they want to fit in, they want to... so I think that it's a club that you can get status in through a variety of ways.
Right.
So they want higher
One
status.
of them is being anointed.
Yeah, you get
it's VIP.
You're not allowed to get the Eucharist.
What?
Grr, no wine for you. You can, but you didn't because the technicality. We caught you in okay. You're living with your husband. So
right.
There are people that their membership is being hindered by where they like genitals and where they like to put theirs.
All right.
So then you would say, well, why don't you not be in the club? Because they want to be, because they believe that that's the only way they're going to get to become infinite and divine like that.
Star Child 99.
COVID, right?
Yeah. That old guy. That old thing.
Mm-hmm. Are you starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel is stressing me out? Why? Because I have a lot of shit to do when it opens up.
Oh, you're like...
I didn't make much of a secret about enjoying this. And now that it's gonna end, I'm like, okay, I guess we'll I mean, there's not I am genuinely happy to do the work I have to do, but calendars and conference calls and shit, that there's going to be pressure on me in 6 months that's not on me now.
It's like when you are looking for a job and you really want a job, and then you get a job starting Monday, and it's like, fuck. I can't just chill.
How great desperation was. Chilling with an underlying desperation.
I was chilling.
I wish if I knew how good that desperation was. Well, click on that poll. It's just people are kind of stressed out.
Yeah. That's what
they're starting. And also fewer people intend to not go out when it opens up.
Liars.
So people are saying that they are going to go out less. People are saying, like, I enjoyed a smaller social circle at my house.
There's something because think about it. It's going to get warmer. The risk is going to go down.
Now, we should keep in mind, you just went through the horror of planning a baby shower.
That would have been terrible no matter what was going on in the world.
Yeah.
There were some egos.
Yeah, but
they didn't just come out from COVID.
That's what I think people are realizing.
What?
About pre-COVID is that they had people in their life that were not helpful or enjoyable, and that they were doing things they did not want to do.
I feel like it's going to turn into... do you remember going to Asia and out in Asia, and going out there was going with your friends to eat in a group and not leaving the table? Like in Asia, they do. In China, it's kind of like.
But I went by myself, so it wasn't.
Loser. Right. No, so when you go out there.
Interesting person. with full personality that satisfies himself.
So, so the culture's more like me, you, Will, and a few of us go out. We just drink together at our table, eat, drink, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then there's not as much mingling with strangers. I feel like that's kind of going to be the going out.
You're talking about a kind of communal table.
No, of your community.
Okay.
So not before, people
you're
are
talking
smash
about,
into big.
Got it.
Smash into little bars, chatting, mingling, bumping into people. Hey,
yeah.
We're very friendly.
That's you, by the way. Like, I wasn't like,
okay, but you've lived in New York, and New York, everything is so goddamn small. So the bars are little.
Yeah,
it's not weird
to fight people.
Okay.
Who literally you start with, you don't know me,
no.
and then you fight them, proving my point.
Okay.
That people are not interacting with people they don't know, because that's the main reason that people fight. It's because they don't know each other, and they don't give the other person an opportunity to know them. They'd rather fight them than open themselves up. This is
Fun
the Star
culture.
Child.
Okay.
Coming to you. Live.
Coming to you live.
I can't read this, but I assume it's good.
It's so small.
Yeah, it's fine.
So you think think of your social friends. Because
Yeah.
Do you think they're a little different?
Let me think about this. I don't know. I mean, most of my friends were always working as comedians, so working at night. Dinner. I think I'd hoped that introverts would be able to be more introverted, or at least acknowledge that they were introverted. I don't know why I wanted that, other than because that's what I'm like.
Right.
I don't actually really care if people go out. If you like going out, go out. But I guess if there were people that were locked into habits, they're now allowed to break them.
Yeah.
So break them.
Okay.
Enjoy breaking your habits. And people now, it's what I said early in the pandemic, it's halftime. So now you can decide, what do you want to do in the second half?
The funny thing is, I wonder how many people are going to feel like they were fucking babies. When everyone makes a stink, but once you get your way, you just...
What babies about what?
About COVID and Corona.
What? Go on.
Meaning, like, a lot of people made a huge stink about it and a huge this, and it's a sham, it's a this. And it just has naturally taken a course. And all the models have been roughly correct, and everything that Fauci and all these people have said is turned out. Like, hey, if we do this, the numbers will go down, we'll help. Healthcare workers, blah, blah, blah. So now that it's just is doing what it said, I feel like there's a lot of people who made such a big deal about it that now...
Yes, but they'll say... I think you're asking people to admit that they made a mistake, which is...
Or that maybe they overreacted.
But they didn't... The opposite was never proved. The opposite was never pursued. What they wanted, which is like, let's fucking open up, baby, and no masks.
Some
biker rallies across the country,
which
all the time.
accounted for like
the one in the center of the country, which I've started to look at that, and they're like, 5 billion cases started in Sturgis, and you're like, that seems impossible. But
they trace back, I think
200,000,
like
or something.
200,000. Like at first it was like 30, and then it's like a ripple effect.
Yeah. I don't think people will. I don't think those people regret it. I think those people will say that's fake. You can just say they faked, and all the people that acted like they didn't want the vaccine are gonna be like, I always want what?
No, I didn't have a problem with the vaccine.
No, I'm not saying you.
No, I'm just joking.
Yes. Having said that, you did say you were going to give it a second.
No, I said I was concerned.
That's big.
No, it's not.
I know what you mean.
No. I totally actually need to take a stand for this. I don't think it's a big deal to be concerned about getting a vaccine. I don't think that's a big deal at all. I think it's a big deal when you're saying weird anti-vax shit.
Right.
But it's fine to be concerned about. I'm concerned about any medicine I take. Do you know what I mean? And I look up the side effects, and I have had really bad side effects from a lot of different medicines. So I'm always
Give me
like,
an example just because that's interesting.
one I don't want to say, but
Fine. Plan B. Go ahead.
No, what?
ACT for when you first got AIDS. Go ahead.
This medicine made my breast grow a cup size.
Which, guys, at this size, that's a danger. You had to get a bigger apartment, I heard.
Like disproportionately. Nothing else grew.
Well, that's probably the pill, no?
No. First of all, I don't want to say what it was. Second of
well,
all,
if I guess, you'll probably spill it.
No, spill what?
Them damn titties. Them engorged titties.
Everyone at work was calling me sugar plums. They're like, put your sugar plums away. They were nothing.
This is in England in the 1700s. Go ahead.
Nothing grew on me except my boobs. They were hot and heavy, and it was really scary. And my doctor was like, we need to monitor this because I'm not sure why you're
like monitor. Let's just stop. One thing changed, a pill.
Right, but I needed
you needed them.
So it's just weird. I don't know. So anyways, I'm just really careful about like anything. Why not? I didn't go and like spout like misinformation.
Yeah.
So what?
No, I don't know because it seemed.
Don't make me feel
remembered.
Bad. Don't make me feel bad.
Okay, I remember. I didn't want to be inconsistent in terms of people going like, eh. Nobody said like Bianca, but I didn't want to be inconsistent in terms of you being concerned about it.
Well, then I just did research.
Because
I literally just did research, and because they were saying it's a different method of vaccine. Then you go and realize like that's been around for the person that developed has been around for 12 years. And I don't know, you just get information and you feel comfortable.
And also, even people are like, I like the old. I don't like this RNA.
They don't know.
Like, why don't if you read that interminably long Lawrence Wright article in the New Yorker,
all the info. It's
all in the story of it. The guy who just kind of discovered RNA technology, he's just a guy in a lab. He's not an evil guy.
It's also didn't just happen 6 months ago.
Exactly. He discovered it a decade ago, and then he was like, this might work for that particular thing. It wasn't like, what? Like it was, he didn't run into and he didn't do it he didn't do it in June. Like I've discovered.
Exactly. Also though, I mean, the AstraZeneca ones are causing blood clots and they're being stopped. Like people aren't distributing them in like Germany, Israel. So there is,
Yeah.
There's
you can't clot this blood.
Ya bomba clot.
Yeah, so I'm a little more stressed no, I'm not actually stressed, but I enjoyed the timeout. And I loved the fact that nobody had to achieve anything. That it was, you didn't have to achieve anything. And the people that did, the winners last night, you're like, what? Okay. Are you fucking weirdo?
Do you think this is just going to be everyone's like lost year? Like this is just the lost years.
I don't know. I mean, in terms of there wasn't, nothing happened. It feels like nothing happened.
When I say last year, I really mean 2019. I'm like, I went to Thailand last year.
Outside. Yeah, it's outside years.
Outside years.
Honestly, it's like, it's like back when this was, we would go outside and we all had to achieve.
Right.
It kind of was good and bad. It had pluses and minuses. Plus was you could go outside and breathe. The minus was you had to be cool and achieve shit and position yourself culturally.
Okay, so human beings are really brittle and fragile.
Mm-hmm.
And old ladies that were children during the Great Depression. Now they still can everything and won't give anything away, even in their 90s. Do you think this is going to have some sort of psychological effect on people, or is everyone like,
I saw a poll about child bearing that they did a study that it's two things that I found interesting. There were obviously fewer babies in 2020, like significantly. But the bigger thing was it made people cautious about having babies.
Because it was like...
Because it's like, not like I have to actually raise these motherfuckers. It was more, the world is fragile. And people were more, in this one study, voice more environmental concern because they're like, oh, so wet markets with bats are is not.
I don't think people knew that was happening.
Of course they didn't, but there are degrees of it.
Well, no, to your point,
there are meatpacking plants, like there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like there's
people are just more aware of like, this is not good.
Oh, wait a minute, things can jump species, which is part of why they wanted to be Bill Gates. Do you know what I mean? Like a part of the reason is if it's Bill Gates, then we don't have to change anything.
Right.
We just have to
something else that has
kill Bill Gates.
Kill Bill. Gates of Hell. The amount of Gates of Hell memes. They're funny, kind of. But it's in a weird way.
If you're afraid of nerds with fucking amazing brains, that's my greatest fear is nerds with amazing brains who gonna microchip you. You're carrying his phone. I just want to restate what I said a year ago. He could get any information on you that he wanted. You're as good as microchipped as we speak. I said it already, and I'll say it again. But don't listen to me. Just a Star Child BET Comedy Award winner. The Star Child. This next Star Child is a BET Award winner. Comedy Award. What's the donor battle with Donald Trump?
Oh, so now, first of all, it's just sad over there at the Republican GOP situation. But basically, he's saying, don't donate to the Republican Party, donate to me and my super PAC. And he calls them rhinos, Republican in name only. And so he's basically defunding them.
Great. I mean,
fantastic.
Okay.
To me, it's like, that's your own.
What do you,
what?
It's what did you guys think was going to happen? It's Donald Trump at the wrong time. Like, what did you think was going to happen? He can't not ruin things.
Right.
He has to. That's just what he does.
He's like,
yes.
Why didn't this?
He can't. Lindsey Graham was right, but it was 5 years ago. So it's a shame. Old Lindsey Graham is crying right now.
Lady G.
He's texting people on Grindr saying that he made some mistakes.
It reminds me of the end of the movie where the bad guy who conjured the spirit gets stuck with him. It's like, not me. It's like, what did you not think he was gonna? He's your base.
He's incapable, and the only thing that can happen, he just has to die from old age, or whatever the fuck, or whatever. His dad lived to like 87, but did have mental health decline. It was very sad to watch. I watched the whole thing. 93. I said 87, 93. Even worse. 93.
Even
Fred Trump.
That's 2 more decades.
Rest in power, King. Moving on. Okay. So, let's talk about Piers Morgan.
First of all, I called it.
What did you say?
Well, remember I said, and what's up with fucking Piers Morgan?
Yeah.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah.
And then we had a whole thing about.
Well, I just said he's just a broadcaster. That he's a reliably white supremacist broadcaster.
Yeah, I asked you, why does somebody like him still live? It's just the cockroaches of the entertainment industry. Even though he gets canceled and everybody on every side has hated him. Yeah. How does that person live? And you just said, does no morals.
He didn't get fired.
No, he didn't get fired.
That's what I'm saying. He didn't. He is all the shit I said.
His Piers Morgan show got canceled.
He's just a fucking baby child.
He's a baby child.
He walked off. He didn't get canceled.
No. I was talking about his show in America got canceled.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying he keeps, he finds somewhere to be always.
Yeah.
Oh, he got kicked out of England, didn't want to be, came here.
Yeah.
Well, you were like, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
Now he's back on Good Morning Britain. Well, then he...
Right.
The day after we talked about this.
He couldn't take the heat.
He couldn't take the heat by the weatherman.
But that's the thing is when you're working with, it's like showbiz rules where
you don't.
He's the highest paid person on that set. He's kind of the big dog, right? So none of that. It takes such an egregious thing for them to be able to say, "Hey, motherfucker." hey, look what I found. Like what did you say about this woman?
Right.
Who everyone now is on the brown side, so to speak.
Right.
So they have the power to shame him off.
Right.
Now having said that, I bet they were surprised.
I think they were floored when he walked.
Yeah.
But come to find out, I mean, I didn't realize that he was just salty that she stopped being his friend.
It's always personal.
It's so, it's such bad writing. Like,
That is French. She didn't want to fuck him.
He's gay, no?
Bianca.
What?
No, I don't think he's gay.
Oh.
Is he? No, I think he's married with kids, maybe.
Oh, my bad.
I could be dead wrong, but
I don't know. I don't know things.
Yeah, he got in a fight with gay conversion therapists at a gay.
Sounds like he's gay.
at a rally. He's been married to Marion multiple
so
times.
she wouldn't fuck him when she leaves. Did you see the clip of him telling the story?
Yeah.
And he's like,
I put her in a cab.
I put her in a cab.
Which right there, it's like you didn't fucking put anybody.
She called.
Did you escort her from the door of the pub to the black cab? Did you work security for the lady from Suits? Yeah, I put her in a cab.
It was so, and then she went on to a party.
Where? Yeah, it's about me, don't you see?
And I never heard from her again.
Yeah.
Like, I recap it really quick for the listeners who don't.
They went for a drink, I guess.
They went for a drink,
and then he put her. They got on great, and then for an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then he put her in a cab, which means she got a cab. Maybe he hailed it, and which again, black cabs have to stop. Excuse me. And then she went to a party and met Harry, and then she never
talked to him again.
She ghosted him. She's like, she ghosted me. So
Ugh.
yeah, which is like, don't use terminology that people.
I think he was married at this point.
I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs, but
I wasn't asking you. I'm just saying.
No,
I'm pretty sure he's married. Like, I don't think it was like they had a
She
thing.
was starring in Suits, of course. She was a spring visit to the UK, as if it's like an official visit. She went to Wimbledon to watch our mutual friend Serena Williams.
Hey.
We spent 2 hours in a pub. She had a couple dirty martinis. I had a couple of pints. We got on brilliantly. And then I put her in a cab. It turned out to be a cab. I don't know if he's right, but I don't think she wanted to fuck him.
No, ew.
They're not in the same category, him and Harry.
No.
He is a Harry. What would you give Harry a number out of 10?
Can I decline this?
No, I want to know what you think.
Iffy 5.
Wow. Okay, what do you give Piers Morgan?
1.
Okay.
Piers Morgan, he's like an old,
if Harry's a 5 out of 5,
guy.
and Piers Morgan is
it's a 5 out of 5.
I like Harry's spirit.
Oh, Harry as a person? 10.
But you gotta fuck him. So give him a. I'm not saying just as look. I'm saying the whole thing.
Oh, the whole thing?
Yeah.
8.
Yeah. Okay.
9.
Really?
It's entrapment.
And we got her. Will play the theme. Okay, and then still a 1 for the other guy.
Piers Morgan, yeah.
Now we're.
What would you give Hillary Clinton?
Don't. You're a bitch for even asking.
How dare you?
Hillary Clinton, of course, the Prince Harry of America, Hillary Clinton.
No, the Piers Morgan of America.
Well, that's even now. You're the sexist. I turn it on you. And then what happened with Sharon Osbourne? And
so she is on the talk, and she was like, "Piers Morgan is a good friend of mine," and she was crying. And she said, it's not right to cancel people, and this is not okay. And the black cohorts were just calmly explaining to her how, well, he's been pretty misogynistic and racist and right-wing for a long time. Like, he's not the victim in this. And I think one of them got was getting not emotional, but she was getting very passionate. And then Sharon goes to the black lady and says, don't you dare cry. You don't have the right to cry. I have the right to cry because it's my friend. And... well, that was the sin that did Jezebel in.
That was one of Dr. King's huge things, was giving black people the right to cry in public.
So when that happened, everyone was like, stop yelling at your black co-host that it's your turn to cry and they should have nothing to cry about.
Yeah.
And then the talk is on hiatus.
Huh.
Interesting.
Who's crying now? Now the viewers are crying. Because how are they going to find inane chatter? Where will they turn to for when they need it's 10 a.m. You need inane chatter. Where else you got to turn? Oh, the Chew? Okay, go to the other one.
And then apparently Holly...
The Chomp? You ever watch The Chomp?
So Holly Robinson Pete used to be on the talk. Mm-hmm. And she said that Sharon used to say behind the scenes that she was too ghetto for the show.
Holly
was too ghetto, which... What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Holly Robinson Pete? And she was like, well, once Sharon started saying that I was too ghetto, then I was let go. So I don't know.
Well, if Holly Robinson's too ghetto, I hope she never sees this because you were raised in the Watts Towers. If Holly Robinson is too ghetto. Now, Jay-Z, speaking of ghetto.
De La Ghetto.
Jay-Z sold
Tidal.
He sold Tidal a week or two ago.
Yes.
And then he also sold. Did he sell his? Did he sell it, or it's a ownership
sold
thing?
his? I think he sold part of his equity already, and then sold the rest of his Tidal equity.
What's the name of it? It's French. But it's called colloquially Ace of Spades because that's a logo.
Right. I don't know the name, but he sold it to the Louis Vuitton people.
Mm-hmm. Louis Vuitton, LVMH, one of the most profitable companies in the world or something?
Yeah.
Because
it's Louis Vuitton, it's Moet.
It's a ton of shit.
Hennessy.
Yeah. It's Tiffany.
Yeah. It's
Haddish.
just... What?
It's Tiffany Haddish. They own
It's
Tiffany.
her
They bought
Grammy.
Tiffany
yeah, it's just so much stuff that everybody consumes at a high volume.
World's most viable luxury brand. Valuable. What we did was we put in a tiny monitor on our show, but it's impossible to read.
It's closer,
but Daniel bought it
a
year and a half ago, and I thought,
it's impossible.
Not on my watch. Will we let a monitor go to waste? So now we've ruined the show.
It's a monitor for ants.
With a monitor that we can't even see. We see that there's a monitor. There's figures on it. Will finally just made it bigger.
Wow,
which
what?
No one had thought of.
Thank God
it's the most valuable luxury brand. So, anyhow, good for.
Oh, so here's the argument though. Some people are saying, which I wonder we should think about.
I think I know what their argument is, and I like it.
Okay. So their argument is that Jay-Z sells his brands and markets them like by black people, for black people, support black business, but then inevitably sells them makes the brand big
whites.
And sells them to evil whites. So in the end, it can come across.
Is it a black business still? Did he leverage black support for his own gain and then sell it's it's not on the backs of black people it's not. I don't think it's a good argument. And what else can he do? He could never sell it, but that doesn't seem like the right move. Also, he can use the money he can give to black stuff, and he can also quietly support new black businesses and just get it to a point where whites come and give them and everybody gets payout. Ideally, at a certain point, the payout helps more than just him. Meaning he can take a company and co-own it with a number of black people, then a number of black people get the money.
Right.
Like I'm it's one of those like, what are you going to do? It's not ideal, but it's the way business is. It's kind of like it's kind of ideal If he has $1 billion, he ain't spending it on white people.
Right.
And he's not going to support white people. And he's not going to. So black people are going to benefit from it, whether it's this check or not.
I think make as much of a profit as you can.
Well, Chris used to do this joke about like it was back before any of them owned it, but like if black people owned a bullet company or a gun company, it would be a problem. Or it was alcohol. I think the joke was alcohol, but the white people can sell anything. And it's like, well, good for him.
Right.
Whereas if it's black people, it's like, then you get into the morality of like, is this good for black people and all the shit that white people never have to deal with? Whiteness. It's pretty great. Marry into it if you can. And if you just don't, not one specific family. I realized afterward that Buckingham Palace is the real White House. It's the locus of white supremacy.
Yeah.
Everyone was conquering, but it was Spanish, and Portuguese, who any great white man will tell you not white.
Right.
British were the main. They invented
which
white.
Is why I said it was racist.
No, I wasn't saying it. What I was wondering, what is? I know England's racist, but like, what is the? It was about the firm and the this and the that.
But I think part of that thing, and the reason why we were like finding it difficult to define it, part of its mystery is part of its branding.
Yes.
That's why when you have one tidbit, the fucking world's on fire, because there is mystery. Because we don't. I heard when she said I went to HR to get help.
Yeah.
HR.
Yeah.
There's a royal HR.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it is so shrouded in mystery.
I don't even think there was a royal HR. It was like just some lady. It was some lady. It was like, okay.
And then also couldn't help her.
No. Which proves she wasn't HR.
And it proves HR
I only
is
deal
never
with
helpful.
princes, kings, and queens.
Right.
And princesses.
Sorry about that, girl.
Duchesses.
So I think that's what we do understand, though, is that, like you're saying, you're right. It is the origin of white supremacy.
It's the big bang of white supremacy. So not like she shouldn't have been surprised, but the more I thought about it, I was like, I kind of thought it while we were talking about it, but they started the slave trade. I talked to Jimmy Carr about it today. Like, they started the slave trade. They invented it. They were basically like the way that like the Silk Road was. They were the bazaar.
Yeah, I know. But we did talk about
No,
this.
of course we talked about all this stuff. Jimmy has
were
a
little
great
more passionate.
No. You were misunderstanding. I wasn't saying they're not racist. What I'm saying is
you just were like, what is it? What is it? But
I just want to know what it like. They can't. They invented white supremacy, right? But I'm still wondering, what is the firm? But
we could also not know what the fuck it is and still understand all of the terrible racist things attached to it, and understand that who's surprised that they're worried about the skin color of this child?
Yeah.
Like, it was
Jimmy also told me who it was.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, we'll give you that answer right after this. Jimmy, he's a good boy. Everybody knows that. Stacey Dash, no longer racist. Good for us.
Yay,
did you see her tape? Her video?
I was
Dash.
manipulated. I was manipulated. No.
She's still a baddie.
She's so hot.
Even with the she's got Piers Morgan's personality, basically. In a nine's body.
I mean, she's so hot. But the problem is, every girl grew up wanting to be
72 years old, Stacey Dash.
Shut up. Every girl wanted to grow up being Devin from Clueless.
Yeah.
It was the one time when you were playing with a mixed group of girls where somehow race didn't have to do it. But when I wanted to be Ginger Spice, I had to be Scary Spice. I was like, well, why can't I be Ginger?
Well, what if you had wanted to be Alicia Silverstone?
Nobody wanted to be Alicia Silverstone. Everyone fought to be Devin.
Tough way to find
Everyone fought to be Devin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was Devin.
I think it was. No. I don't know. It's so long ago.
I don't know who. Yeah.
Dane in the ball. Everyone wanted to be her in Clueless, regardless of race. Everyone wanted to be Lisa.
When white women were you allowed to be like, no.
I was like,
sit over there with Alicia Silverstone.
This is Spice Girls rules.
Yes.
No. Everybody wanted to be Lisa Turtle.
It was a Spice World.
Spice of life.
Yeah. The Ty? Was it Ty?
No,
yes.
Ty was the girl that died.
Brittany Murphy.
It was Dion.
Dion, yes.
I was like,
Everybody
Devin?
wanted to be in
That
Dion.
sounds wrong.
Dion. No one wanted to be Cher.
No one wanted to be Cher.
I would argue that Clueless has one of the best black jokes I've ever seen in televised history. She walks in on Donald Faison getting his head shaved, and he goes, "I'm keeping it real." She's like, it's so fucking funny. And I don't know who wrote it. Maybe Amor Heckling wrote it. I kind of think there's probably no way.
That might have just been
but it's one of the best big movie.
Right.
Fucking very black joke. And fantastic.
If you think about it, the undertones were like they thought that dude was. Is he gay? No, he's not gay.
Rudd or
no, the
black guy.
The guy she goes on a date with, and he's like, take a coat, and she brings the. No, he's like the pretty guy.
I don't know the plot that well. Was it?
It's not a lot. It's not a deep plot.
I know. I remember she went on a date and then Rudd walked down the steps.
No, not Rudd. There was another guy that was like a very beautiful looking guy, and she was like, I love him so much, and he ended up being gay.
Elton?
Elton? No, not Elton. Elton was the one that like tried to fuck her, right? And left her, and then she left Christian. There we go. And left her at the Elton left her at the clown liquor in the North Hollywood. Him.
Oh, okay.
Remember?
Sure.
It just was
like a Jason Priestley.
It captured everybody. It was like there's the Persian mafia, there's the like Asians, there's the this, there's the that. It was brilliant.
It's a very sophisticated movie. It's obviously like a remake of Jane Austen or whatever, but you watch it. Amy Heckerling made Clueless and Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which are like,
wow, are you serious?
Yeah.
Please just keep making high school movies.
I know. But it's a long story.
Is it?
Yeah, because she also made Look Who's Talking.
I love Look Who's Talking.
No. I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm saying, we'll start at the beginning. Fast Times. I mean, that's her opener.
It's so good.
Which is like, fuck. Johnny Dangerously, a Michael Keaton movie.
I think
that
it was too young.
Is
good.
When you're 10, you think it's good. Okay. It's funny. He does look here, see, he does like a 50s sort of gangster character, like the whole movie. Then Look Who's Talking, a killer, and probably I'm betting a gold mine for her.
Gold mine.
And then
Low Overhead.
Clueless in 90. She did like all the Look Who's Talking. She did the sequel and the spinoff Baby Talk. And then Clueless. But then she did Night of the Roxbury.
That was stupid, but it was good.
I mean, Night of the Roxbury's fucking got some hilarious shit in it. And then she just she wasn't allowed to do movies again. She was on my block in director jail. She's on my cell. She's my cellie.
She's your cellie. My bunkie snoring. Yeah. So wait, are you only as good as your last movie?
You certainly are.
Damn.
I mean, in her case, I think there's some other factors, but that I am not at liberty to speak about.
Okay.
But
not too bad.
When I told you about it, you were like, "What? There's a person that directed Fast Times and Clueless, and she's alive and a woman. Like, she must be getting a million scripts a day or a million opportunities a day." But how old is she? That's another. If you're coming to Hollywood, don't be older or a woman. 66 is not out of the window of. It's not like amazing, but there are 66-year-old
male directors.
Ivan Reitman comes to mind, who doesn't work a ton, but people are like, fucking did Ghostbusters. So we're going to give him a, Ivan's 74. So that's kind of significantly older.
Yeah.
Amy Heckerling, rest in power. Queen.
No.
Gone too soon. Don't remember what got us there. Stacey Dash got us there. What do we make of somebody changing?
Is it changing or is it? This isn't as lucrative. This is not lucrative for me anymore. Yeah. I don't at all trust her.
Because she said she changed after January 6th, which is like, I gotta say, Stacey, it's a little late.
She doubled down so hard in so many points. I mean, I would stalk her Instagram. Everything was, it's just a Piers Morgan of like, I'm getting attention here.
Yeah.
This is where I'm getting attention. This is where I'm getting money. This is who's responding to me. So I'm just going to double down. Mm-hmm. So to all of a sudden be like, I'm no longer racist.
How?
It was like,
how'd you do that?
It was like, I remember.
She'd make a killing teaching it.
I know. Honestly.
Like, teach it Stacey, if it's real.
If you're listening.
Yeah, of course she's listening. Teach how to not be racist.
It just reminded me of those Ricky Lake shows where they would interview the white supremacists and they go hang out with the black family. It's like, I'm no longer racist.
Yeah.
No, come on.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Moving on. Okay. So George Floyd's family got a civil settlement, which I don't remember it ever happening before the criminal trial, but I guess they didn't do a trial. They just settled out of court before it even got to that.
I think, though, sometimes with the municipal ones, they kind of just, what price do you want?
Yeah.
We don't, okay, what about this? What about the,
Yeah. Now, what are your thoughts on this?
What was the highest that's ever been paid out?
So congratulations.
No, I'm just saying it was, it's nice to read a story that doesn't make your blood boil as much as usual, because a lot of the times when stories don't gain as much traction as this one, it's like they got a $50,000.
Yeah.
When they got a bill to, a street cleaning bill to clean up the brains of your loved one. You know, a lot of the time it feels like that. So I didn't feel that, but I don't know. It's like good. I hope it helps.
It's good, horrible news.
Yeah. I hope it helps. I hope it gives stability to everybody in his life, and maybe it can help.
Yeah.
Maybe it has a ripple effect.
It truly is a settlement. And you hope that it sort of trickles down, meaning the cop, I guess it's because it's a civil settlement. If it were a business, you go, hey, motherfuckers, I can't afford these settlements. Because it's a police force of a municipality, there is the mayor who's elected in 4-year windows, I'm assuming, can't really be like, hey, you motherfuckers, I can't. So I don't know and there also seems to be a revolving door in terms of police chiefs just going to another city.
Yeah.
And
well, the good thing about this is if it sets like a new precedent, or maybe, I don't know how case law works with civil court, but at least it's a standard to like, at this level, there's a new high standard set, Yeah. So maybe, I mean, I just think there's no way to battle racism how we want, but getting someone
money is help. Money and insurance are very weirdly helpful ways to do it.
There are ways to,
because I bet it is an insurance. I bet they have to be insured for the municipality has to be insured for shit like this.
For sure. That's why, I mean, we talked about before, some cops who just behave so badly, it's like, you got to retire.
Yeah.
Because we can't afford.
Yeah.
We can't afford our insurance.
You're too great.
So
but people don't like it.
But I think money and insurance, historically is a good way to, tailor behavior in general. Like they were saying, if insurance basically doesn't want to insure these houses out in the, like, I don't know, boondocks of California, then then no one's really going to live outside because of the forest fires, because they don't have enough money to, so I just think everything is so related that just get them where it hurts.
Yeah. But my worry is that they go like, the defense attorney is like, Your Honor, we gave him $27 million. Now, yes, we did kill him, but it's $27 million. And it's like an admission of guilt and a
you think it's gonna be like,
payment.
Come on, let him go.
No, but it signals to black people like, we fucking paid him. Like, sorry, Derek Chauvin's not going to go to jail, but black people, come on. You don't have to riot that much when we find him innocent.
This guy is so
black people.
Expressive.
I'm talking to black people. This is how I talk to black people.
Close lips.
Look, they don't. You know what I mean? Like it's a bit. It's like it's softening the blow a little bit.
Do you think he's gonna catch a case on or get charged?
What's funny
on
is I don't know what's more likely in light of the settlement: a guilty plea or a guilty conviction, or an innocent conviction or an innocent finding. I don't know. I truly have no idea, and I know they moved it. They want to get a, impartial jury, so they're moving the trial to outer space. It will be outer space. Will not be human beings. It will be a space mammal of some kind. And good luck to the space mammals. Okay. Speaking of death,
okay.
Vanessa Bryant won. She won the right to release the names of the cops who leaked pictures of Kobe.
Yes.
Victory?
Well, she's rich, so I feel like
Snitchery? It's a snitchery.
Yeah, good. Why not? Fuck those cops.
Release
the names. We release names all the time of the cops. Release things, leak information all the time. Somehow they should be protected. Why? Also, sickos.
It's a good point. It's a good time to listen to the Virgin Precinct. Look, we got the songs, guys. Just give us the stories.
We got all the pots.
Yes, it seems
small.
Yeah, it seems like beside the point that it's come fully around to next. It's like, okay, yeah, I guess if you're, I don't know. It just, I'm not defending the cops in any. I don't give a shit. I don't especially care. I don't know if justice is served, if it feels like it will make cops less likely to leak in the future. I wonder if that's her. I wonder what her motives are.
It must be something we're not privy to, because of the fact that she's like, okay, well, I'm going to go ask a court to help me then. Maybe we could put two and two together. Maybe they were like, you can't release. I don't know. I feel like she's just mourning and upset and pissed off. And he's like, okay. Oh, you not going to, I'm going to
I
go
heard
to court.
She's releasing the names. First commercial of the Oscars. She's going to unveil the names. And it's going to be pretty great. So she got it. So now when is she going to release them? You know what I mean? That's what it's like. What is the, in some ways, I almost feel like there was after 9/11, there was an Onion headline. America looks for someone to punch. And basically that's what it seems like she's going through, where like, she's like, okay, so my husband was killed. So if she could sue the mountain, she would.
Yeah.
Like
sure.
everyone's getting some.
Yeah.
Fucking everyone. Like just fucking.
I guess I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem. I guess I can't believe how ambivalent I am about it.
Okay.
I just like to show you my ambivalence sometimes.
I love it. I love seeing your ambivalence.
Now,
who's this person?
Oh, this is interesting.
Keeping up with the Teen Vogue
so
news.
Alexi McHammond, who is you'll recognize her. She's on Axios on HBO.
Okay. Yes, she looks. It's a weird photo, but she looks kind of familiar.
She's on Axios on HBO. She's on MSNBC all the time.
Okay.
She just got appointed the chancellor of Teen Vogue, editor of Teen Vogue. Then old tweets were not surfaced because they never went away, and she'd already apologized for them
prior to this situation.
Yes, and she was allowed on all of the stuff.
Images.
Outdone by Asians. This is November 8th of 2011. She's now 29. So this is when she was 19. Outdone by Asians. # what's new. Okay. I love it. I don't know what she's talking about, but already very funny. Now Googling how not to wake up with swollen Asian eyes.
No, that one.
Okay. I'm losing the premise.
What?
But she was outdone by Asians. Outdone by Asian. I don't know what that means.
Well,
give me 2 out of 10 on my chem problem. Cross out all my work and don't explain what I did wrong. Thanks a lot, stupid Asian TA. You're great. There we go.
That is
there.
not.
Now that's there. Where there's the marrow.
TA?
There's that marrow. I was chewing a bone. I was like, why am I chewing this bone? Oh, delicious. Pay dirt. Stupid Asian TA.
No.
And then somebody responded months later with something, and then Alexi wrote, she was like an old Asian woman. LOL.
What's this person's problem?
She was
Asian
in college, and she
an Asian hater.
That's the weird thing is I don't associate. I guess my racism. That just seems like this lady's different.
Who's the lady?
The old Asian lady, old Asian TA, stupid Asian TA. It's like, what does that mean? Like, I'm not saying I just mean like, what does it being Asian have to do with it?
Yeah, that's why it feels bad.
But that's
to
what
us.
I don't understand. Like when people go like, what are you implying other than Asians are different and bad in this case? It's just, I get like blanks are blank. I get understanding like stereotypes. This
she's
seems
not
like
stereotyping. She's
just
the
like,
Asian eyes, yeah, but
Asian people have different shaped eyes than. Do you know what I mean? Like that we don't have to get into it. See, eugenics. See, black people were bred.
No.
Bianca, please sit down. You don't have the right to cry. I have the right to cry. I just don't even whatever. Now, having said that, she apologized for it 2 years ago. She's still advancing because she got the new job at Teen Vogue. And then, but what happened was, which is a whole other issue.
Do a whole thing on Asian hatred and say I was part of it. And look, it's like I don't consider myself a racist person.
Just don't give an Asian person the cover because you need sales.
Okay.
No. Listen to me. You gotta have sales. Somebody, by the way, Trayvon texted me that somebody was working. The guy from The Bachelor was working with a racial counselor, and Trayvon's like, if that's not the Neil Brennan sitcom. I know, but it's too fucking.
It's too funny.
It's like so funny. I also had a very funny sitcom idea based on the George Floyd thing that I won't.
Wow,
that
hilarious!
Seems I know it seems impossible.
You gonna?
I'll explain you off the air.
Okay.
It's too funny for the air. Sorry, guys.
Too hot for TV. What do you?
Like, what do you do with this? There's a couple things here. I spoke to a friend of mine yesterday who gave somebody a recommendation.
Okay.
And he was like, he was giving somebody the recommendation. He talked to the person he gave the recommendation to. And he's like, who wouldn't give you a recommendation? And the woman was like, Gen Z and millennials are really petty about
vouching.
But also, now that we'll not vouch, don't hire her. So her staff, 17 people or something on Teen Vogue, stepped up today to, I don't know if they said like, you're not allowed to, she can't be hired or whatever. Will, could you look up Teen Vogue staff?
Teen Vogue staff, Alexi.
On Friday, kind of in a more than 20 Teen Vogue staff members. The fucked up thing is in my head, they're all teenagers, even though they're not.
I know. I'm like, just
pointed to an anti-Asian, racist, and homophobic tweets that McHammond posted in 2011 that surfaced over the weekend. They were especially concerned given the recent spat of violence against Asian Americans. We built our outlet's reputation as a voice for justice and change. We take immense pleasure and eating disorders. We take immense pleasure in not Teen Vogue, Big Vogue. Take immense pride in our work and in creating an inclusive environment. In a moment of historically high anti-Asian violence and amid the ongoing struggles of the LGBT community, we at the staff of Teen Vogue fully reject those sentiments. So I guess they didn't say that she shouldn't be. By the way, she was 17. So
when she wrote that?
When she wrote it, yeah.
I just think, you know what? Why not hit it head on? And make an issue really highlighting Asian Americans, everything that we kind of turn a blind eye to. I feel like in this country, hatred, we love it when it's from white to black. We love white against black hatred. It sells. We get really excited. Yep. We get really upset. People take sides for no reason. I mean, people take white people's side for no reason. It's just like, it's violent.
Well, we're great. We're supreme. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just think there's a way to accept that you were being a dumb.
She's not being asked to fire. They're not saying fire her, and they're not. I wonder if this is going to affect editorial decisions in the future when people that rebuked her publicly are pitching stories, and she's the editor. Anyhow, I'm sure it won't get personal at any point.
I just think they can turn this lemon into lemonade.
Of course they can. I guess it's like, how do we adjudicate? How do we adjudicate something that's already been adjudicated? She apologized 2 years ago. Why didn't the staff do the Asian issue before this? You know what I mean? It's a bit like, well, you guys weren't doing it, and maybe they were. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Something's not even fishy.
Just, I feel like there's a way that somebody doesn't have to be
it's just
their
one of these
career
things
end.
that nobody, thankfully I don't think it is that her career is going to end. Because she's a woman of color. Do you know what I mean? She's a woman of color.
Right. Those tweets though, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't remember. Sometimes it's hard to remember yourself at 17 or like 16 and how I said so much stupid shit, but it wasn't very racial, it was just really stupid. I used to say gay.
Oh, I mean,
and then I understood that was bad. It was just, I'm equating gay to something very negative.
Yeah.
And then a teacher of mine was like, just sat me down, like, you gotta, like, not me.
Say you in a super gay way. I'm kidding.
No, like the class, and just I don't know, just started putting it in our heads. Why are we saying that as something negative? You're not saying that's gay and it's positive. We were all saying it in a pejorative way. So I don't know. Once that clicked in our heads,
no, of course.
All of us were like, "Oh yeah,
I
this
don't
is
want to
really
say that then. Like if it seems, So
I don't. So if someone villainized me and every single person I went to school with,
I mean, like I said, the amount of times my brother's faggot was it was just unequivocally, that was the word. Constantly. It sounded like gay bashing in our backyard.
Oh my God.
Just not, I mean, just in that,
that's
the amount of
thing.
like, get over here, you faggot.
Nobody would say faggot at our, or like F word, at my level, or we said gay. Now I wouldn't even think to describe something as that. It's so bad feeling inside me.
Yeah.
But, and also weirdly enough, we had these weird PSAs starring Hillary Duff that were like, and don't say gay, quit it. I don't know. Do you remember those?
Then she called you guys the N-word.
Okay.
No,
but I just think, I don't know. She's 17. I didn't realize she was 17.
Yeah.
Because she said TA, which is a college thing.
Yeah, it sounded like she was in college. Yeah, there's Hillary. Whenever I hear like Hillary Duff, whenever you were in high school when Hillary Duff was used as a tool, and I'm like,
wait, play it. It's just a PSA. It's fine.
Do you like this top? So gay. Really? Yeah, it's totally gay.
You really shouldn't say that.
Pause it. And then Hillary Duff looks at it and goes, "You're right, it is gay." And that's the name. That's the end of the commercial.
Neal, it is blue.
Say what?
Well, say that something's gay when you mean it's bad. It's insulting. What if every time something was bad, everybody said, "Oh, that's so girl wearing a skirt as a top"?
Oh, you are.
Those are cute jeans, though. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say?
Knock it off. You missed the best part.
Knock it off.
Yeah, so sometimes you just...
Some
we
of
all
you
need to
need
just
the
have
right PSA to come along.
No, I'd stop before that. But it really...
Meanwhile, the poor Asian manufacturers of tops. Skirt tops. It's tops of skirts.
Stops.
Stops.
Stops. But I think it's also like, hey, everyone, let's just, admit that was fucked up.
Yeah.
Hers is so... nobody I grew up with was ever saying someone was gay in a pejorative way. I think that's not the most important. I don't deserve a pat on the back, but saying like stupid Asian TA is like,
yeah, it's
what?
like, what is so stupid TA?
Stupid TA, everyone can get behind.
And then the fact that they're Asian, what's difference does it make? It's bad racism. If you're gonna be a racist, guys, this is part of Neil Brennan's racial counseling. Make it with a point.
Thank you.
And a stereotype,
Nene.
an existing stereotype from hopefully at least from the 1800s. That's what I'm asking for. I don't think we've met. I'm Neil. Doc Watch, Will.
Doc Watch. Doc Watch. Doc Watch.
Did you watch Biggie?
Kind of depressing.
No. Okay, you did watch it?
I did not.
Yeah.
Because I've seen so many Biggie docs and all that stuff that they make me sad.
Yeah.
And it feels, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. How was the journey through the documentary different than anything you've seen?
No, it's not. I'll say that I don't think it's great. It's not an amazing documentary, but...
Was there a reason why they made it? Like, is there new...
I think his mom was more involved. And I think that Netflix does well with black programming. Like, I think, black icon documentaries, I think, do well on Netflix. So, I don't know that for a fact, but I'm assuming. So here's the thing that it made me realize. Guys like him, he looked like a fucking stick-up kid. All the 80s rappers, by the time I saw them on television, looked like... Run DMC was like wearing a costume, and they seemed old. Like Run DMC, even though they were probably late 20s when they hit, they seemed like they all looked old for their age. LL was like sort of like sculpted and moist lips and shit. Ice-T seemed like whatever crimes he did weren't going to affect me. Biggie looked like he just robbed somebody. And it was to see him on television, regular, just talking and rapping and like the lifestyle and all that stuff. It's like Patrice one time said NWA scared the shit out of him. When he saw NWA, he was like, holy shit. like Amir Questlove said the same thing. He was like, who the fuck are they? They were scared. Like, I got to stay away from them.
That's really funny.
That's like, and also he was like so fucking young. It's like 20. So you just didn't see guys like that on television or talking. The amount of talking I watched Tupac do in like MTV interviews and shit, he was on TV constantly. If you turn on MTV, there was going to be a Tupac story. An incredibly young guy. So it was more about like that picture of him and Tupac. That guy didn't exist culturally.
Right.
Before.
In New York.
No. In television.
Oh, yeah.
Like he wasn't like, we're going to cut to a guy who looks like he'll fight you now. He will, you might get in trouble now. Like he was selling drugs while he was recording. So like it wasn't, the image matched his early photos were shot on the corner. Once you get into the Crown stuff, that's like second album. But when he first hit, that whole like fleet of rappers, including the Wu-Tang Clan, which were like, they beat up the source writers. Yeah. They literally beat the writer up and the photographer.
It's so funny.
Like they did. Now it wouldn't. It was like in the 80s, it was like all very like corporate media, and then there's this window where it's like hip hop journalism's new. All these guys are new, and they're all like grew up in the late, like were selling drugs in a way that I just didn't think KRS-One did the generation before it. Like there was something churchier about the generation before them. And even if it wasn't directly church. So it was just watching these guys and realizing like, wow, that was and by the way, now it kind of wouldn't happen. Like that there's a culturally like the guy Pop Smoke's dead, but the baby, da baby, and little babies, da babies.
Damn babies.
Would be more controlled to me.
Right.
It's like Chris talks about how late Public Enemy was on Saturday Night Live in their career. It was like 91. Their best album came out in 88.
Yeah.
So just the like white people were so far behind, and just something about this class was like, wow, these guys are real like street dudes.
Perfect. Well, yeah, I mean, especially when you watch the Wu-Tang doc.
Yes.
You really got the feeling like, okay,
yes,
we're living our lives.
Yes,
we're gonna try to do this.
You better hope this check gets here. You don't want to be here when I realize that the check's not coming, because then I'm gonna have to do crime, because that's what I was doing.
But like, they were still doing drugs, selling drugs, doing everything throughout the greatest albums, the greatest records.
Yeah.
So, you know, the like disparity between the artist and what they're rapping about was so small, which is
it wasn't even, there's nothing. It is that.
Yeah.
I sold drugs, then I went and made a song about it.
Yeah. And I'm on drugs.
Sometimes I'm on them. Then I'm going to go back and it's all one continuous thing.
So
Rotten rhymes. Funk-infused beats. Hip-hop in New York.
That's what I sound like to people when I talk about hip-hop. But it and incredibly young. And at the end, toward the end, they show video of Jay-Z sitting with him.
Yeah.
And it's not the first time I realized it's the distance that these guys traveled is so admirable. It's like miraculous. It's like so miraculous. And it's something that like I tune into and tune out of because like if I see Jay now, it's like
you're not thinking about Marcy projects.
No, but the thing is, he's not either.
No, he's thinking about millions and millions.
He's thinking about LVMH and popping bottles. But that's really impressive.
Yeah,
it's like Slumdog Millionaire. Like there's like these things of like getting out of that situation is a fucking miracle.
Yeah.
I heard Will Smith say that one time that's the thing that Africans in the world are impressed by African Americans by. Like, how did you take over the world from there? And they're like, I rapped. I'm charismatic and I rapped. So shout out to the various kings who have traversed impossible distances. Impossible. It's impossible, and they did it. You see any docu's?
I've been sucked in by the Great British Bake Off. The Great British Bake Off is.
How long did it take? How many episodes?
Well, there's 8 seasons, and I'm stuck. I can't get out of the Great British Bake Off.
Well, I'm not. How long did it take you to get stuck in the dough? You couldn't
like
get it.
Episode 2.
Dough.
Episode 1 and a half of 1, 2. And it's funny because you go back. I'm watching episodes from like 2012. All these people are famous now. They're famous British people now, but they're just on some very
famous in what way?
I don't know. The show is so endearing because everything's like, okay, and we're gonna make your Genoise sponges, and it's like, oh no, the syrup's not taking. It's so delicate of a reality show, and I realize that it's so fucking charming because it's very calm and quiet and not American. If it was American, you'd have a guy like, I'm gonna fucking kill it. Nobody has an ego. When they win the episode of, I can't believe it. I don't know how that happened. Like everything is so self-deprecating and I don't know how I made it. And there's something so charming about it. It isn't a battle of this.
It's also, they're baking. So it's not, I mean, that keeps them humble of it. It keeps
I just mean Top Chef is like.
It's like sing, like, it's like, I'm going to, it's tasteful.
It's tasteful.
It's like dignified. Like, no, it doesn't say cooking isn't, but there's no room for bravado.
Right. And
bravabro.
There's also, they're cooking shit from like patisserie, like these old school French things that I've never heard of any of these desserts. And you know what's fucked up? If I watch something, like when I watched The Sopranos, I ate so much Italian food while I watch it. It just gets in my psyche. When I watch The Wire, I ate so much KFC and crab.
Go ahead.
Crack.
So much
I
crack.
skipped the crack. But they used to eat those like KFC boxes.
Yeah.
KFC crabs. This fucking show is making me eat dessert. Like, I don't like dessert really. But like at some point you're like, well, I want to try a je ne sais sponge.
I have to write something down about The Wire that I can't say.
Oh my God.
That you need to say because it's got the N-word and it needs the N-word to be funny.
Oh.
To talk about Great Britain.
Okay. And I think if they made an American version, I don't think it did that well because Americans, their egos are so inflated and they do this kind of fake it till you make it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna crush it. This whole I just talk myself up to oblivion. Competitive, talking shit kind of. The British don't have that. And I don't think they would like you if you did that there.
I think you'd be, Gordon Ramsay, it doesn't seem beloved.
It's a little love-hate, but not most people aren't like him. Apparently, I didn't know that. No one likes Jamie Oliver anymore.
Interesting.
Did you know that?
He was always cute.
He was cute. They hate him because he came to America started hanging out with Americans.
Got to him?
Got
Got to
too
his
much
head?
ego. They're like, don't big time us.
All right. So Tony Woods, the great comedian, what used to sell drugs in DC and Annapolis. He sold crack, I'm assuming, in DC and Annapolis. There's obviously rivalry, turf stuff between dudes who sell drugs in DC and dudes who sell drugs in Baltimore because they're close. So The Wire is about selling drugs in Baltimore, and I asked Tony Woods if he had ever watched it, at which point he said this to me.
Why would I watch a show about niggas I used to rob?
Which is a very funny thing to say.
So funny.
It's so funny. It's like, stop what you're doing and think about how funny that is. So fucking funny.
So funny.
It's so funny. That's like the way Tony's funny that he could never capture on stage. It's like it's like so fucking funny.
There are a lot of comics that people never know how funny they are.
Yeah.
Because there is this, I don't know, je ne sais quoi that certain comics have and certain comics don't, of being able to capture their special shit and like say it over and over again and have the audience get it the exact same way dudes in the hallway.
They would have gotten it at work if they work with you. Yeah, I know. But if you get it right, you get $800 million.
Then you're Neal.
No, you're not me. You're
Neal. You're a very good comic.
Oh, no. I'm saying you get Sandler, Ellen, you get $1 billion.
You don't think you could be that?
No.
Why? What's that Catholic in you?
No, because I had this conversation with Ellen one time where we were in one of her houses.
Okay.
And I said, this is a really nice house. Like, how much was it?
Will you ask her that?
Yeah, of course.
Wild.
This is what people like and don't like about me. Okay. And she said, I don't remember what she said, 11 million or 13 something. And just look up her real estate holdings. They're all over 10 million bucks. And by the way, a fucking perfect house, like perfect.
Yeah, just pretty.
And like 2 bedrooms, not far from Sunset. Like
2 bedrooms. $11 million 2-bedroom.
That's what I'm saying. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's a perfect house. Pool, but not too. It's right off Sunset in Beverly Hills. She sold it, and I was like, I would love to have a house here, but I'll never have $13 million to spend on a house. And she goes, yeah, you will. And I go, no, I won't. Like I was trying to explain to her, like, you know how much money you have to make to have a $13 million house?
Right.
You got to make 35. You have to have $35 million
times.
Easy. You got to have $35 million. And then think about what you have to do to make $35 million. And then you go, well, Netflix, you can get 20. All those people already had fucking.
They already had a $13 million house.
Yeah. They already had, I don't know what Dave doesn't, but yeah, maybe he does.
He could.
Yeah. It's not for lack of, you actually can't spend that kind of money in Ohio. You can't find
Just
it.
buy the whole state.
You're like, all right, Dave, it's 140 bedrooms and it's still only $1.6 million. Yeah, I'm not saying it in a self-pitying way. There's just it's just that I'm not like a Super Bowl person. Do you know what I mean? Like my act isn't Super Bowl. That's just not my core.
Well,
I'm obviously very funny.
But if you make a show,
right,
there's other means to get that. I feel like you are just such a good writer at heart that like that's why you're a good comic. That's why you've written on good shit. Yeah. So,
but that portion of it is so magically lucky that I wouldn't.
You're not banking
possible,
on it. You're not
but
like
it's like, and I know what it would be like to do.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not gonna say who, but he said when he was doing his sitcom, he just thought this is gonna be incredibly hard for like 9 years, but if I make it through this.
You know so many famous people. I'm like,
There's a clue in the length.
I think
the clue
was
I found
Seinfeld.
What? I'll never tell.
Okay.
This is a book that we talked about a few weeks ago. The thing about paving over pools so black people couldn't use them, and basically hurt the white people as well. Okay. It's like cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah.
She was actually going to call the book To Spite Your Face.
That's good.
She didn't call it. She called it The Sum of Us, meaning SUM. And her name's Heather McGee. She was on Franken's podcast. I just wanted to like state clearly who she was in case people want to read it.
Book. How is it?
I haven't read it.
Okay.
I just heard it on Franken.
Are you gonna read it?
Yeah. A lot of boring stats next week. No, I think I think it's good, and it was, the podcast was great. If you just want to listen to that, let's go to the emails.
It's time to check that email.
You've got mail.
Hey, Neal and Bianca. Wednesday listener here. Not quite top tier. Getting there. Bing! I'm curious if I can think of how to phrase this question correctly. Neal, what income level would you be willing to switch places with a black man? And conversely, Binky, what would the cutoff level be to switch places with a white woman? Obviously, this scenario assumes you would happily give up your racial identities. So, putting that aside, I'm just curious about where the intersection of race and class lives, and how much of it is to do with money, class, and wealth.
Great question. He's gonna be one of my first hires at my racial counseling firms. We'll talk about the headband.
He looks like a star child.
He does look like a bit of a star child. He looks like one of my plant friends. That's a great question.
Go ahead, Neal.
To quote Rock, fame is the greatest gift God can give a black man. Mm-hmm. So you could be a millionaire black person, but if you're not known, you'd have to be one of those like flashy, like put yourself in your own commercials kind of guys you'd have to take the money and put it aside to make yourself locally famous. So we're already over, let's put it over $1 million.
Okay.
But once I had the money, I would make myself locally famous. I'd make horrible commercials with me in the star. Like, tell him.
Yeah. Diamond Center.
Yeah. What's my name? What's my black name? Nico. Tell him Nico sent you.
No, it's probably...
Nico. There are no black end names.
Be careful.
Well, there's one great one.
No, Neal.
Well, all right.
What?
Nate.
Dog.
Nico's blacker than. Yeah, but Nico's blacker than Nate.
Nico.
Nate Bargatze.
Nico is with Nico.
Nico's
like Miami. That's not Miami black.
Yeah, all right. We'll go with Nate. I don't love Nate, though. But Nate, tell him Nate sent you. Tell him Nico Nate sent you. A.K.A. Nardo. Black Nardo. Tell him Black Nardo sent you.
And Neal is a white man.
Thank you. That's a very good question.
That's a good one. I don't think there's an amount.
You have to.
Oh, I have to?
Well, it's not. You didn't.
Oh, I thought
it
was. Would you if you could be a millionaire?
You have to. What's the? So they're saying you couldn't. They couldn't pay you enough to be white.
I don't. Okay, so if we're gonna play along,
let me rephrase it, because I don't think it's like paying you to be white. It's at what income level do you believe your quality of life would sustain itself as a white woman? And I don't mean your car, any of that. I'm talking about the feeling inside you.
If I was a white woman, would want a considerable amount of income because I feel like there's a type of good you can do as a white person that a non-white
Podcasting for one.
a non-white person can't. Like I don't have a great answer, but I would say I'd need to have a net worth of, I would want to give so much back into communities. So I'd have to have a considerable amount of net worth because that's what I would, if we just woke up and like,
Yeah.
woo, Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
I would just completely devote myself to community service. So no one wants a poor community service person.
I think you're underestimating the
50?
the power,
What?
the way whiteness dulls your sense of privilege.
So once I get in, I'm just like,
Once you get in, you'll be like, you know what? Fuck it.
Hey, you guys
I
good?
could write that. Shoes, white Uggs, a water bottle, a new water bottle. I do plant medicine. That's a great question though.
Great.
And it makes me
makes you think.
It makes me respect the listeners. They get it.
The listeners get it, especially when I'm reading how many are giving a shit for saying Tuesday listener.
Tuesday
Very
listeners, so funny.
It's so funny. Like, okay.
And also, this is the kind of guy that you wouldn't assume he even thinks about this stuff.
No.
Let alone, has an insight.
Yeah, describe them for people who
He's like a white guy. He's got like a bob, like a Eddie Vedder, Kurt Cobain bob, and he's got it in what can only be described as a burgundy brownish head wrap that you'd see on a black woman on a sitcom.
Okay.
In a night scene. Like, would you come in here? Should she be wearing something like that? I don't even know what you call that.
It looks burlappy to me.
No. I'm not saying fabric. I'm just saying the shape.
You know, it looks like have you ever seen those white Muslims?
Yeah.
And they wear white linen.
Muslims. Go ahead. Yeah, the ones with the orange beards. We've talked about them.
Yeah. No, those are Sikhs. We only talked about Sikhs.
No, the orange Muslim. We talked about orange guys, Muslim guys, especially in Afghanistan, paint their fucking. They paint their beards orange.
Every time I see it,
because it's so crazy that it took off. It's a power
so
to
funny.
fucking how infectious culture is, no matter how stupid it is.
It's so funny. Anyways,
yeah,
it's that guy. But no, he seems nice, and I like his mid-century modern staircase.
Interesting.
So there you go.
Goodbye.
Interesting, I should say.
You've got mail.
Hello, Sir Neal and Lady Binks, LSTNRE. My name's Robert, and I grew up in a household when I was watching the Three Mike special again on repeat a couple of nights ago. I saw the bit about what you define as a true narcissist, and also your experience growing up in a household of 10 kids and how those factors can interplay with one another. I'm the youngest of 5. My father was, I would not say a violent alcoholic, although when I came home from the hospital one time after a bike accident, he did throw a lamp at me. So the question becomes,
that'll teach you.
Relative to your own experience, how does one understand their value, their worth, and how they're meant to coexist in a world that's defined by a prism of, I'm not worthy, you have to fight for everything you have, it's, time to scrap. Anything you have to say on the thought would be much appreciated. Thanks for your time. Be well.
Great question. I'm going to be one of those people who says great question now in interviews. Great question. And because I read charisma books, you have to ignore that person's reality. That person is a sick person, and their perception of the world can be right. They understand left from right, and they can follow directions, and they can be very gifted in things and whatever, but their perception of the people around them is completely warped to the point where you have to know that every time you deal with them.
Yeah.
You have to, because otherwise you will get swept up in their perception of you. It's the thing I think I said on here, which is, I'm not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I'm who I think you think I am. So if you're around someone who you know doesn't value you, you're not going to value you. That's who you are. So you have to divorce yourself from the situation. It sounds hard because you travel by bike, but it sounds hard to divorce yourself from your dad. You just have to know that, like, they're a sick person, and not like you're sick, just like they have this thing that distorts their reality, and you have to be firmer in your reality.
Yeah.
In order to deal with them. Anything you thought?
No, I just like listening.
My dad's narcissism was about his grandeur. I gotta say, there was a weird thing with me and my dad where it was like he knew I was onto him and rarely violent. I think I've said it, which is I was like when in war, officers, it's like a different thing, and officers from different armies will meet kind of socially.
Yeah.
Or at least they'll meet at like Malta, whatever. That's not, but you know what I mean? Like, right. That's kind of with my dad. He was like, can't really fuck with you because I know you know, and they all think you're good. So for me to go negative on you would be like, it would be too crazy. Like they'd be like, there would be a revolt.
Right.
I was their Meghan Markle.
So it was, okay, sacrifice not putting any shit on Neal to maintain.
Kind of.
Like in
it
a
wasn't
weird
even that explicit. It was more just like he knew that I didn't fuck with him, and he didn't entirely disagree with me.
Interesting. Did you guys ever have a conversation about it?
No.
Not even close? Not even a like, huh? Or like a 1-word, 2-word confirmation?
He told one of my sisters, this is whatever. He told one of my sisters that I had the highest IQ. I don't know if of the family or the kids or something, but it's like Dave's joke about the white guy who hangs out with black guys. Like that, you don't know what that white guy did to impress the black guys, but it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was in that, I don't know, not like he was, I was given good status, or it was like, it was still it was still chaotic. He was still cold. He was still unloving. He was still tons of other shit.
Right.
But there was an element of respect toward me because I was precocious. Like I was like wise, he would say. It's like, speaking of which, I told you how homophobic things used to be.
Yeah.
He would write a Christmas letter every year. And when I started kindergarten, he said, this is a direct quote from me that he put in the Christmas letter. Neal isn't crazy about kindergarten and says they sing gay songs. So if you don't think I've been me, that I would not even like, these are homosexual songs. They were.
No, but that's really, why would he put that in the code?
Because that you could advertise it back then. That was funny. Like, anyhow, that was the thing with, but the narcissists I've dealt with as an adult, you have to divorce yourself from them and not fall into perceiving yourself through their prism.
Well, I feel like we're always in pursuit to figure ourselves out. Like, why am I like this? Why am I that? We also tried to figure out our parents, especially as we get older. And I remember going on like years ago, I went on a subreddit called "Raised by a Narcissist," and
You're talking to a member.
Oh, I'm a member, but just because I realized I was not raised by a narcissist.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because the stories are rough.
Anything sticks out, or just like a general?
Nothing sticks out. Nothing I can remember off the top of my head in like a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
But really weird competitive stuff.
Oh,
really,
like my dad was competitive with me, like for sure.
Really, the competitive nature of parents to children. It's not like I haven't not felt that, but I'm not going to complain when there's an never ending and unlimited amount of stories that my jaw's on the floor. I
think some of the stuff on that subreddit are
fantasy
compounded.
Stories?
No, I think that there's some bipolar, there's some borderline, there's some.
It's not all narcissism.
It's like I think it is narcissism with other shit.
Okay,
but competitive, fucking absolutely. I didn't even remember that.
I don't. That's all. I think when you're raising kids, just do not be competitive. I don't get how someone gets competitive with a child.
I don't. I mean, in theory, I certainly don't. I've heard people voice a thing of getting mad that their kid is getting a nicer Christmas or whatever. There was a really funny meme about immigrant parents, which comes to America to make their children's lives better, and then guilts children about their better lives.
Yeah, totally.
That's like the cuter version of it,
right?
But it's just a bet. If you're a narcissist, just don't have a kid. Now you're probably telling yourself, but I'd be an amazing parent.
Well, I remember one time specifically, I was going to Persian school, but my Farsi was so shitty that I had to go into the little kid classes. And I remember I was getting competitive with a 5-year-old. I was like, how did she fucking know that?
Well, that I get, because it's like, I get that.
I had to check myself.
Feel dumb. You feel like I'm not even as smart as a 5-year-old. I get that.
Okay. I felt so embarrassed by
it's like
how
when
I
you
was
see
feeling.
a 5-year-old snowboarding, you're like, what the fuck? Fuck this kid. And you fucking give him an elbow to the head, but underneath the helmet so it really lands.
Goodbye.
Another good one.
You've got mail.
The Binks and the Star Child, RSTNLE. It's been mentioned that Tuesday listeners are the highest level of listener. And as a dedicated Thursday watcher, I'd like to make a case for non-Tuesday listeners still making the top tier.
Okay.
For a while, I tried to listen on Tuesdays for the immediacy of something enjoyable, but I felt like I missed so much in the way you two interact. I think Bianca took a pill during this podcast because her boobs got a cup size bigger. As you may point out frequently, some of communication is tone, but 55% of it is body language, and it's just interesting to watch. When Neal accuses Bianca of being upset, a viewer can see it first because she avoids eye contact. When Bianca has to commentate Neal's actions, a viewer can already see that Neal is struggling to tie his tribe bracelet with his teeth. Lately, viewers have also been able to see your genuine excitement from celebrity callers. For me, a lot of the energy is lost when I'm listening. It is just a better overall experience and worth the wait to watch. Plus, as a viewer, you can see the very available sexual energy that you both bring. The hardest part is having the Neal-like discipline to wait for the full episodes. It's like waiting for ice cream day or rewarding yourself with masturbation once you're in for the night. Ultimately, I don't think it's when or how you enjoy the podcast that makes you a top tier listener, but that you are dedicated.
Yes.
I'm an active listener, Ma. I just like to watch too.
He likes
That's
to watch.
from a lady. That's
good.
I cut her name off, but I did know. I thought it felt like a dude.
Felt like a dude, but
sometimes
I feel like a dude.
You know what I mean?
And also, just to add, whenever you accuse me of being mad, I'm never mad for the reason you're accusing me. Just so you know.
But you're still mad.
Oh, yeah, but
and
you're like,
won't tell me.
No. It's not that I won't tell you. It's that it's sometimes the way you get hung up on things in a conversation can be frustrating for me, but it's so minimal that it's not worth derailing the conversation. No, it's just like, okay.
Yeah,
it's like that. It's not like we need to talk.
I know, but I would... Kat, my friend Kat, available sexual energy, the coiner of available sexual energy.
Kat.
And I want to say a holder of available sexual energy.
Okay.
Let's be honest. She's a Thursday watcher, and which is the highest tier. She has very funny observations to the point where I have the idea of doing an after show with her.
Hilarious.
Because it's so fucking funny. Because she resolves our issues. It's very funny.
I want to. Can we just?
Yes, but we got to figure out an after show issue because it's fucking funny.
But yes, no. So I'm never ever really upset. I just think sometimes at the beginning of when we did this podcast, I learned from you that just keep it moving. If you already discussed it, just keep it moving. So sometimes I think my face will look like, okay. And it seems like, what's wrong? But actually nothing is wrong. Okay, go. We'll move on.
For instance, Kat noticed last week, I said that you got mad at me for the racism thing. And Kat said she was mad at you for saying that she wouldn't know Meghan Markle was black unless somebody told her.
No, not at all.
So
no, I was mad that you kept being like, "What is it? What is it?"
But you're telling me.
I don't know, I don't know, Neal.
That's what I'm saying. But you were ascribing a value to. I know white people are racist. I know England has a lot of racist people in it. But when you say that thing is racist and then can't define the thing, that's frustrating to me.
Okay. Well, then we were both frustrated.
Goodbye.
Hey, Neal and Bianca. I'm a massive fan of the show. It's all just love mail now.
You
I'm a
got
massive fan of
mail.
the show. I listen to several podcasts on a regular basis, but yours is the one I get most excited to see pop up on my feed every week. So much so that I need to strenuously object to the notion that Tuesday listeners are top tier feelers.
Come on.
I'm often still working on Tuesday evening. And even when I'm not, I like to save your show for when I can savor it most. Full disclosure, it's almost always when I'm doing yard work.
Oh.
Yard work? What's a yard? Neal, you of all people should understand the importance of scheduling the lovemaking. The Tuesday listeners want a fast and furious quickie in the parking lot. I'm trying to take my time and make a baby. I love you both.
I love you.
Quote, it's Crohn's.
Say it the real way.
I can't.
Goodbye.
I just want you guys to know that we're valuable. That's why we read those letters up front.
Yay.
You've got mail.
Hi, Nardo and Binks. I came across this amazing data visualization called One Pixel Wealth that made me realize that figuring out what to call the working class from episode 95, you might not be the right priority when it comes to talking about the needs of regular people in the context of America's spiraling wealth disparity. I challenge you to get through the entire visualization. Challenge not accepted. The true scale of wealth of what the media calls casually the super rich will astound you. It certainly astounded me. I did a Daily Show thing about how rich Jeff Bezos was. So basically says, what should we call the super rich? And I have a term.
Okay.
Morbidly wealthy.
Great. On brand for you.
On brand for me. The obese, I hit them a little. I'm over that.
Always got it.
I'm over it. I don't do that anymore. Morbidly wealthy. I think it gets at the point. They're morbidly wealthy. Like, why would you need over X? It's just at a certain point. Like, what are you doing?
When you hear the number, we do it in terms of 90, 147, 7.5, you know?
Yeah.
But when you break it down, like, he could spend $1 million a day.
You have to do
and
one of those.
When you do those,
Yeah.
that's when
40 times doesn't work.
it's like,
if you even graphs of like you can fit the top 50, those fucking make me gloss
the
over.
1% has the top.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
But how much can he spend a day to waste his wealth?
Yeah.
And it still be excessive to
Yeah.
the average person. I love those because when you hear it, it's insane.
Yes.
It's like $1 million an hour type of person.
It's or
wait,
LeBron, in order to have Bezos' money, LeBron, I don't remember what the stat was. LeBron would have to play
like for 200 years.
I don't even remember what the fucking number is. It's so crazy. Like 900 years.
Yeah, it's
yeah, so that's wild. Morbidly wealthy.
Good job.
Thank you. Sometimes, every once in a while. And that's, I'm going to become morbidly wealthy by coming up with terms like morbidly wealthy.
Goodbye.
Hey, Neal Bianca. That's the thing, is there's not a market for it. Now, be kind to each other. That's how you make $1 billion.
You've got mail.
Hey, Neal Bianca.
I love it.
I thought I'd write in regarding your story about the time Dave told you how black men's penises are darker than the rest. That's like a TMI situation, but he said it, so I don't like. Do you know what I mean? Something about it makes me feel TMI.
You just received.
Yeah, like me repeating it feels like, am I betraying a thing he said?
Well, no,
but we had it in the cut. So, he also mentioned elbows and knees. Black men's penises are darker than the rest of their body. This was surprising for me because I was under the impression that this was the case for dicks across the board. I myself am sporting multiple shades below the belt. From my waist to about my mid-thigh, I'm an old pasty bastard, but my junk looks like it's been sunning itself on a beach somewhere in Cancun for the better part of the summer. Now, unfortunately for me and my wife probably, that is where the similarities end. Anyhow, keep on doing. I think that's a black dick
small
joke.
Swing and a miss.
Thank you, Will. We got Will a desk, everybody. If the cues seem a little crisper, the searches are still an abomination. But the sound effects have never been better. I've heard the argument. This is another. Oh wait, okay. No. And then there was another color.
I feel like it's just a gathering of skin. Of course, it's darker.
Is that why you think it's darker?
Well, everything where there's a gathering of skin, it's darker.
Hold on, let's stop the podcast. Would a neck not be a gathering of skin? Because it's got give.
But it is a bit tight, and it is kind of like its resting isn't gathered. It can.
It
gather.
doesn't need much. It has stretch without. It has give without extra skin.
Right. Elbows, knees.
Yeah, I guess so.
Buttholes.
Butthole. Shout out to buttholes.
Shout out. EP of the podcast. Buttholes. Or like, have you ever seen a woman that gave birth and her stomach can be a little wrinkly?
Mm-hmm.
Darker.
Interesting. I bet they love it. I bet women love it when that happens to their bodies.
It's all part of the process.
Well, yeah, because I'm so pale, mine isn't that dark.
Right. It's probably pink.
You hate to have it tell, but
well, pink is a white person's dark. You know what I mean?
Yes, but it's not. Yes,
not every white person's dark.
I thought of one thing about
are your
this.
nipples pink? Your nipples are pink.
In fact, I remember the first time I took my shirt off in front of Dave. He remarked, "Why your nipples pink?"
Oh no, we were on the same page. Yeah. So you're either, dark or slice of ham.
He said it like, "Yo, why your nipples?" Like whenever we were saying things that were uncomfortable, we would talk like Tron, the character, or and then that became Rick James.
Goodbye.
Why are nipples pink? Okay.
You've got mail.
This is I've heard the argument too many times that an alcoholic can give up drinking, but no one can give up eating. I think it's another excuse. I know it's hard to eat healthy, maintain a healthy weight 100% of the time, but alcoholics still drink, i.e. water, soda. So it isn't a matter of not eating. It's about not eating junk food, candy, pastries, etc. in lieu of veggies, fruit, etc. Being overweight's hard. Dieting and exercising is hard. Choose your heart. This is the devil trying to tempt me back into my old ways.
Don't do it.
And
stay strong, Brother Neal.
Chris, what I'm telling you is we can have empathy for our brothers and sisters that are afflicted with we'll call disordered eating. And we just have to sympathize and hope that they can come through it.
Good. Listen to the Star
Horrible
Child.
podcast, but
that's nice.
What an existence.
The bracelets are tight.
What
today.
an existence, gang.
Goodbye.
Hey,
You've got mail.
Nibs. I don't know what that means.
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
This is James, aka Hong Kong Jimmy.
Hey.
Back in the day, you would actually like him. You would.
He seems cool.
Yeah, you would. But you would. I could see you dating him.
Oh, doesn't he have a girlfriend?
No.
He did.
No, he didn't. He was. In fact, he's written about having hard times
Oh, interesting.
finding a gal
Hey,
in Hong Kong.
Hey.
Back in the day, I dated a Scandinavian girl out here. We weren't compatible for a bunch of reasons, and it didn't work, but we somewhat remained friends regardless. When we were dating, she would always playfully say how much she wanted, quote, a chocolate baby, which I would
Wow.
always cringe at. And
Wait, is
ascribe to
James
the,
Black?
Yeah.
All right.
And he wouldn't, he also wouldn't, you couldn't pay him to be a white person. So that's another thing.
So there we go. Hong Kong Jimmy.
Which I would always cringe at. He's from the Bay and he moved to Hong Kong because he just was sick of American racism.
Man. should've
He
hooked up
was
with my
like, I need
brother.
repression. I need political repression. Chocolate baby, but he thought it was just the cultural mores of Europe, not exactly being politically correct on such matters. Anyways, fast forward to now. I recently discovered that she's living in Europe and is now pregnant. Side note, last year she posted a photo on her Instagram story that I had noticed. I noticed had a chocolate friend of mine in it, which I thought was a bit strange, but figured they were maybe just at the same event. A fucking event. Though he hasn't been to Hong Kong, they definitely did not hang in the same circles. So it was a moment of cognitive dissonance. Back to the story. When I found out that her baby was indeed going to be a chocolate baby, kind of had a crazy theory that it was my friend who might be the father, but thought it was maybe too much of a stretch and dismissed it. She's quite a pretty gal. He has spelled it G-Y-A-L. Guys, the level of clever in these letters is touching. That's, of course, Caribbean woman, gal. Yes. And he wouldn't be the only chocolate. She is quite a pretty gal, and he wouldn't be the only chocolate man in continental Europe to want to impregnate her. After all, what were the chances? Fast forward, recently I was texting with her, and I found out that he is in fact the father, which blew my mind. I get the impression that this was unplanned thing, resulting from a hookup. Wrap it up, fellas. He has kind of disappeared in the last few months and doesn't know that I know all this. I also don't think he knows that me and his baby mother used to date. Okay. This being a blessed time to bring a baby into the world, I don't want to be a distraction, but should I casually tell him that he wasn't that she was an ex of mine, or have it come naturally later down the road? PS related. I'd like to thank Neal for the term factory settings. Every time I think I'm enamored with a girl, I just remember that they are most likely just factory settings, and I shouldn't sweat it.
Oh, Neal, you messed him up.
No, he's thanking me.
Okay.
No.
Wait, you didn't read the good part.
How Nikhil feel and what Binky Key Thithi. Is that the good part?
That might not have been the good part. No, let her let her do it. Don't tell him. Say
do you tell her to tell him?
Just say, hey, FYI, that I actually know him. I don't I would just console her. She seems cool.
My worry, my worry. I bet she knows he knows him.
Is she a homie hopper?
I think that's what I'm trying to say. She's homie hopper.
To the
colon international.
colon. It's chocolat.
Yes.
Chocolat.
Chocolat, the French spelling. The Juliette Binoche spelling. So she's a chocolate homie hopper.
Yo.
Colon. She's an international chocolate homie hopper. Is ultimately what we're talking about.
Then, not my problem. Is this filed under not my problem?
I think it's like
how are they gonna hang out?
Kobe's wife releasing the names. I think you just got. It's one of those things. It's like I can't call it, and no one's asking me to call it.
Right.
I think you just. I don't know. I truly don't know what I would, because if you don't talk to him very often, I don't know. I mean, but then there's also the thing of like letting him know she's a homie hopper. She's an international chocolate homie hopper. But does it matter?
Is that the name of the fucking podcast?
Of course it is. You're a fucking sucker if you don't think that's the name of the podcast. It's do you know?
Okay. So let's do the opposite. He goes, "Yo, friend, I fucked your baby mom. We dated. She's my ex." Like, there's nothing fruitful is gonna come out.
Yeah. What's funny is we've all had people we know date people we know, and they don't know that we dated that person.
Yeah, and then how have you felt before they found out? Do you care?
Well, there's two sides. There's like the power element. I'm like, this corny motherfucker doesn't know I done hung dick up in there. One of the grossest terms for the grossest, the absolute grossest. There's the power thing, and then there's also the feeling like a type.
Well, if you have to look like
guy,
the type.
but if I see a guy, but there's international chocolate homie hoppers, but then there's also just like chuckle fuckers.
Joe, there's so many chuckle
and
fuckers.
then there's international chocolate chuckle fuckers. So like, if I know someone's a chuckle fucker, that makes me feel less powerful because I feel like I was just one of. It had nothing.
So if that lasted, I wouldn't. It wasn't really a.
In fact, there's a different chuckle fucker, which is women that I've dated, slept with, whatever, who then went on to be interested in comedy professionally.
Oh, that's weird.
That's like I've had a few of those. And that's one of those things where you're like,
do you think it's like you transferred the comedy spirit to them, or do you think they was always in them and that's why they were even attracted to you?
That's where you can't look at it too closely because not like you're afraid to look at it. I don't know what their motive was.
How does it feel for you? Feels a little weird.
I don't like it.
No.
But it's like when girls go, "You're just into Asian girls." Yeah, I like fucking Asian eyes. No, I like dark-haired
Asian
women.
eyes.
Yeah, I like dark-haired women. Like a lot of Asian, almost, in fact, not almost, unless they did something, Asian women have dark hair. So falls into the category.
But you've dated all types.
Of course. But that's when, if you date an Asian girl, they go, because I said it on Netflix, Asian girls will be like, "Oh, am I just another one of those?"
Which is funny because your ex was, Asian, but didn't look
it. So yes.
Anyways, you screwed. Are you like careful what you put in specials so it doesn't?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Just because it's not worth. It worth the setup? I could have made that anything other than Asian.
Black.
I do a call,
blonde.
but yeah.
That's so funny.
And by the way, if I'd said black women, my black DM business would have increased 7,000%. My inventory.
Okay, so would you let your friend know if you're just like minimal friends, you don't talk often?
I think you just let it slide.
Don't.
And especially because if the baby came out of a one-night stand, it's not like even if they're getting married, I don't fucking know. I don't know because I don't know the nature of
Yeah.
Their
relation.
But it's not. It's a good question. I just don't know. It's unanswerable. It's Chinese. It's an unanswerable Chinese riddle.
Goodbye. You've got
Dear
mail.
Neal and no Neal. Dear Neal or no Neal, and so you think you can dance.
Like game shows.
Dear Neal or no Neal. Dear Neal or no Neal, and so you think you can dance. Great. LSTNER Tuesday morning acolyte. Liar, because it doesn't come out till 4 Pacific.
True.
I met my last girlfriend at college in Arizona in 2005. We spent 2 years as friends, getting to know each other well, and falling in love, and started dating in 2007. We were together for 7 years, quite a bit of time. So we were apart doing long distance while she went to school in Alabama before she moved to Boston to attend and graduate from Berkeley School of Music. We've been through a lot together, but I was the one who ended things because I didn't think she would ever grow out of certain selfish traits. And she was used to having everything provided for her while I had a job and had been paying all my bills since I was 14. We have since been apart for 5 years while she's been working for a music publishing company in New York. We rarely contacted each other during the time, and I did my best not to reach out and give her space. Neither of us have had a serious relationship since breaking up. I traveled for work and was in her hometown last October for work. Come to find out she moved back. Long story short, he's saying, should I can you get back together?
They hung out. She FaceTimes me every night, sometimes more than once a day. While I love reconnecting with her, I feel it's detrimental to me as I would get back together with her at a moment's notice. Oh, what's the problem?
Should he read into it her interest? And is it like, does she have platonic intentions, or
is she just lonely? Is she using him? What's the...
and can former lovers get back together?
I don't know.
I'm not a fan of getting back together.
I've never gotten back together with an ex.
I've done it, but I'm not a fan.
Really?
Whereas you've drawn the line. You won't even entertain it.
Because I feel like the type of relationship dynamic that just happens that I'm obviously taking part of, but I'm extremely supportive, and they really have to accept the support, and the balance of power gets tilted pretty heavily to them.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of it, they just feel like
you work for them.
I work for them. I feel a little not used, but definitely taken for granted on every relationship. So whenever I think of an ex, I'm like, instead of should I get back in a relationship, for me, it's do you want to go back to prison? Just voluntarily walk back in, sit in your old cell.
I thought I was pessimistic about relationships.
No, on to the next. Goodbye.
I don't think you can get back together with exes because you will revert back to who you are in your core within 6 weeks, unless you've done minimum 8 ayahuasca journeys. And all of my advice is based on
I will
ayahuasca.
entertain it if they did ayahuasca.
Yeah. And or I also don't think you should get back together because I always see it as like a reunion tour of like, remember?
Right.
I think a lot of marriages are like that. Like, remember that year and a half where we were fucking bananas about each other?
Right.
And
let's try to get that
like
back.
we're just constantly seeing if we can we'll get it back in Windows, or like it's constantly about when I first met your mother.
Right.
And when this one first came into my life, and not enough about the present tense and too much about the past. So it becomes the Punky Brewster reboot.
Are you going to watch on Peacock?
I am not.
Goodbye. You've got mail.
Hey, Neal and Binky. Day 1, Tuesday downloader. Wednesday on my way to work, LSTNER.
That's nice.
No need to bore you with other details about it.
Love it.
In listening to the podcast for so long, I noticed something. Neal casually mentions wrestlers and wrestling numerous times. Just on this week's episode, he called Piers Morgan a heel. As someone who hides his wrestling fandom from most everyone in my life, I got to know, Neal, are you a closeted wrestling fan? If so, have you ever thought about going to write for wrestling for WWE? Who's your favorite wrestler? Thanks for reading my email, and can't wait to hear back. Okay. I there's a few things here. I don't watch wrestling at all.
Okay.
But it's a wonderful metaphor. It's just for fake activity.
Yeah.
For fake storylines, fake activity, fake relationships, fake conflict. So that's what wrestling's great for. If you want to know, someone wrote an article, and we'll like put it in the notes somewhere in the like link. I don't know what I've never clicked on the podcast. I don't know what's under it. But someone wrote an article about Donald Trump and wrestling and the term kayfabe, meaning all it requires is emotion from the audience. So you know how Trump would completely contradict himself? He can contradict himself back to back in a speech, but if he gave the audience a line to boo, it was great.
Right.
Like, we got to free Mike Flynn, but lock Hillary up. Free Mike Flynn, yeah. Lock Hillary up, yeah. And you're like, those are totally contradictory. Like, this guy, whatever, we won't get into it. It was just generating emotion without there was no context. There's no future, there's no past. So that's the beauty. That's it's the best article about Trump I've ever read. And it was, it's actually not that one, whatever. And one of them mentioned amusing ourselves to death. So you know that I had to doubly love it. Writing for wrestling, they have comedy writers write for wrestling sometimes. Not even sometimes. Like this guy named Tommy Blancha wrote for Conan and then went to write for wrestling. It's the fucking funniest. And he had a story that I think about every time I got on an airplane. I got when I used to fly on airplanes. The wrestlers have to fly from fucking Wichita to Oklahoma, just like puddle jumper flights.
Right.
But they're 6'8". Right?
Yeah.
So the story is there was a guy sitting in just a regular person sitting in the emergency exit row, and a wrestler walked up and was like, look at me, look at you, get up. Which is so fucking funny. Every time I get on a plane, I want to do that. like, get up. And the guy was like, oh, okay, just got up. He commandeered my seat. There's nothing I can do.
So you don't have a favorite wrestler?
No, I wouldn't even know how to, I don't know. No,
name one besides?
Oh, I can name them like Nick Flair, of course. The Hulkster, fucking The Rock, Macho Man Randy Savage, one of the greatest performers of all time.
Ted DiBiase.
Randy Macho Man Savage is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And if you don't believe me, look up Macho Man Savage, Cream of the Crop, and it's a perfect comedy performance when I tell you. We'll just watch it right now.
Okay, go.
WrestleMania 3 at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. It's a day that I'm certain my guest at this time will not forget. I'm talking about the former Intercontinental Champion of the world, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Means nothing.
Nothing
means nothing. Man.
Nothing means nothing. What do you mean by that?
I'm talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in, but the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah. Macho Madness, yeah, has got more to offer than President Jack Tunney thinks that I got. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you something right now. Cards stacked against the Macho Man Randy Savage in WrestleMania 3. Yeah, let me say it, yeah. Let me say it out loud. And let me point to the president of the World Wrestling Federation. The Macho Man Randy Savage is not happy with your decision, yeah. I am the cream in the World Wrestling Federation. And there is no doubt about it, yeah. You mean Gene Okerlund. You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Oh, wait a minute, though, Randy. I've got to ask you very seriously. Do you blame Mr. Jack Tunney, the distinguished president of the World Wrestling Federation, for Ricky Steamboat being the Intercontinental Champion today?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Outside interference, yeah. In my moment of glory. Yeah, no, I'm living a nightmare. And I am the cream. And now, not only the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship belt must fall, but the World Heavyweight Championship belt. Because Hulk Hogan, yeah, I am
No,
the
he's
cream,
not.
yeah, the cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better than the Macho Man Randy Savage. On balance, off balance, doesn't matter. I'm better than you are, yeah. And I'm talking everyone in the World Wrestling Federation. And I'm even talking to President Jack Tunney, yeah. I'm on my way. And nothing is gonna stop me. Nothing's gonna stop me.
You know, just out of curiosity, Randy and I...
Stop it. It's
First of all, Neal knows every word.
Because he's writing it as...
Yeah, of course he's...
The cream falls off his head. He goes,
like,
on balance, off balance,
doesn't
whatever,
matter.
it doesn't matter. And he's writing it and doing the... He knows he's pulling creams out.
Right.
He knows he has to close with cream.
Right.
So he's going, I gotta close by saying cream again. But if I take the third one out, I'm fucked. I have no closer. So he does 1, 2 creams. 3 realizes I can't. 4 realizes he can't. Then for 5, he...
What?
It's unbelievable.
What does he do?
He saved the cream for the last so he could close with cream. He got lucky, it fell off, but then he does a rewrite on balance, off balance, lands on Gene Okerlund, picks it up, so still has it. It's fucking unbelievable. And I think we can use it because no one
feel
owns
like
it.
you should write for wrestling.
I would love to. But I've got a podcast.
Okay.
Goodbye. You've got mail.
Hey, Nene and BB. I'm a late 20s working creative person with a bipolar depression who struggled with substance abuse since I was a teenager. I'm 3 days sober. My 19-year-old sister looks up to me a lot and has began cycling through smoking weed regularly, excessively, then quitting, then starting again. Sure, she's not exactly on the brink of death, but my story started similarly over the past decade. I've alternated between 2 states. Hyperproductivity, achieving goals, and participating in life, and then binges with various substances, isolation, and depression. Each phase can last anywhere from weeks to months and seemingly turn on a dime. When it comes to drugs, I've told my sister that it's not about strength or weakness, it's about DNA. Some people are built for moderation, others are not. I'm not. I've been lucky so far. You have to be honest with yourself. Is this a journey she has to experience for herself? Should I be more aggressive in my warning? She also mentions my conversation with Carl Hart, and she agrees that adults should be free to choose, but I can't help but feel like I'm watching my sister head towards a cliff. This is my argument against Carl's point. What he's saying is that the reason people get addicted is because of an existing psychological issue, whether it's trauma, mental illness, whatever. But he's like, but it should be legal anyway. And my only worry is there's a lot of people with trauma,
especially in this
America.
Country.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, so then the alternative is we keep it legal. We keep it illegal and punish black people because of the population's use of, not use of, it's just potential mental illness. It's not, again, I think you not have to let the chips fall where they may, but in some ways you do, because we can't keep doing this.
Is there a way to just, isn't there a third alternative to like a real effort to decriminalize it?
Of course. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Of course. But what I'm saying is her sister, this person is bipolar. So, and has abused drugs, and they've had a deleterious effect on her life. So when we know that there are people with diagnosed mental illness in the world, how do we mitigate the legality so that
so you're
we can't
diagnosed,
cure bipolar,
right? And if it's legal, but you probably shouldn't take it, but it's also legal. It's like, okay, alcohol is legal. You shouldn't really drink.
Or like bipolar, epilepsy. Don't watch a strobe. Like, Yes, of course.
It's just not. I'm so in awe that he took on such a topic because it's so.
Carl?
Yeah, it's so nuanced and
unbelievable.
like. It's really easy to drown in that topic, no matter what side you take.
Yeah.
So the fact that
he didn't have canned answers, which was noble on his part.
Right, but you need something in this kind of thing because someone can always counter.
Whether he realized it or not, he was campaigning. He was campaigning for, and while he didn't want to go like, Bianca, I'll tell you why. Right. He didn't want to be like a politician and hold a pen. Bianca, with my new plan, yes, I don't know what to tell people who are diagnosed with mental illness, and a lot of times their medication is these otherwise relatively harmless drugs.
Right.
Drugs, plants. Again, don't forget who I am. Not for 1 second. If you forget who I am, I will hiccup. So I don't know what to. I think you can tell your sister, but I also know enough about life that people have to learn lessons on their own. Yeah, it's impossible to learn a lesson in theory.
It depends. I love a good
other
theory
than
lesson.
The Hillary Duff gay thing. You can learn that lesson.
You can learn that lesson. I learned it before that, but I love a good learned lesson from your experience. They work on me.
Yes, but from other people?
From other people. I don't ever need to. Like so many things. I remember when I was young, the gay thing, the story I'm about to tell you, this all happened mostly in like middle school. But I discovered stealing, and I couldn't believe it was a thing that you could actually do. And so me and my friends like, let's go steal. And so we would we'd steal so much shit from the mall. And then one day I didn't go with my friend, and she got arrested and had to go, and she was under probation, all that stuff, whatever. We were underage. But it did not dawn on me that we could get in trouble. It was just so easy. And so when I understood what happened to her, I never stole another day in my life. But I know there are some people who really have to.
I don't think that. First of all, that little girl was me. That's what you call a year-long callback.
That is so silly.
That's a different category, because that's a fucking close call.
No, that's a close call, and also close calls are scary. But if someone says, I did this one thing, and like this happened, sometimes things just aren't in my brain, and when it gets in my brain, the world expands, and now that's part of my fear. So I like people's stories. I like people's horror stories. I like it. So it works for me, but some people need to live the failure,
Yeah. Close calls are almost,
but
I put them in second, like learning it firsthand.
Okay.
Close call is a close second.
Okay. Close call is close second.
And
but
then
I do
being told something.
I love it being told though. I do. I like that. What about you? Do you need to live it? Or can't you just hear like
certain
didn't work out for my friend? You like when people tell you.
I like wisdom. There's certain things that you can't. I'm thinking Rock was saying something yesterday about jokes, a type of joke. And I was like, yeah, but when you say it, and it was about mean jokes, right? And he's like, he basically saying like, no, you can get away with it. And I'm like, when you say it, it's joyously mean. When I say it, it is mean.
Right. It's like,
so there's like
Neal's
certain advice is just not applicable.
Right.
And so it's knowing when it's applicable.
But there are some people, especially with drugs and alcohol, who I'm going to take this journey. I'm going this way.
You're to that point. I don't know if it's not a close call because I wasn't going to be in Len Bias's college dorm. I wasn't supposed to be there that night. But me and Dave used to talk about all the time. Len Bias died.
Wait, who's that guy?
Len Bias was the number 3 he was the best player in college basketball behind Michael Jordan. Gets drafted by the Boston Celtics, buys some Coke with his friends that night, heart explodes, he dies.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
Did they do a 30 for 30?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, they've done yeah. And like when you see him play, he kind of makes Michael Jordan.
Wow, really?
Not like he can jump the same. He's as athletic as Michael Jordan, but built yokier, right? And that's one of those things where I've done cocaine twice. Once. I've done cocaine once. And I was 36 because I just was like, I don't know. It just worked on me.
Right.
Like, no, that's what's going to happen to me. I'm going to do it once. I did it the night of my Comedy Central special because I thought it would be funny if I died that night. One line. And so that's the alternative. Like, that's not that's just hearing about something.
Right.
It's almost a scare tactic.
It's scary.
Yeah,
it's scare tactics.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it did work.
Like, I don't know anybody that's done heroin.
Yeah.
Or crack. Because it was just, the campaign worked on the next generation, you know?
Yeah.
Crack is whack. And then heroin. Needles? Who the fuck's doing that?
Well, now, hopefully, everybody. With the vaccine.
Neal,
guys, get vaccinated. That's what this whole thing was, a circular way to promote vaccination. Dr. Fauci, thanks for calling in. That's all the time we have for today. Guys, thank you. We don't have to take this shit, and we're not going to take this shit.
Sure,
and goodbye to you.
Goodbye.